Things get wild in a juvenile detention center in the middle of nowhere. It is surrounded by a violent sea. In the yard, the inmates walk in packs. One guy starts gossiping. Right then, the blonde inmate says someone betrayed the boss's right-hand man. Everyone wants to bet on his ribs with a twisted smile. The blonde warns that the damage will be worse than just broken ribs. After all, death is just a routine in there. The brawl kicks off in the yard under a full moon. By the fence, the blonde inmate shoves everyone to get a better look and yells for space. Suddenly he freezes. He cannot believe what he is seeing. Out of nowhere, the attacker is bloodthirsty and foaming with rage. They try to grab him by the hair. Someone screams for them to stop. The attacker's bloody fist strikes the target without mercy. Even held by two, he smashes his rival's head into the ground. Everyone and begs him to stop. The attacker keeps crushing the boss's right-hand man with brutal bloody punches. Suddenly he is grabbed from behind. He lets out a pained groan as he is choked. A giant locks him in a vicious sleeper hold to knock him out. He punches the guy hard despite being out of breath and bleeding heavily. The attacker grinds his teeth and refuses to fall. Everyone onto him to hold the beast down while the crowd watches. The attacker destroys them all and sits on the giant, surrounded by fallen bodies. Seeing that bizarre scene, the blonde inmate lets out a breath of pure terror. The crowd is in disbelief. One of them lays it out. The guy actually won the fight alone. The giant lies completely destroyed on the ground. Everyone is in shock at the carnage. They stand paralyzed, staring at the attacker. They say he does not even look anymore. The attacker lands a brutal kick to the guy's chest. It is like a mad, unhinged dog spraying blood everywhere. Then, he stares at everyone with pure hatred and drags himself out of that hell. Suddenly, a massive yard floodlight flickers on and cuts through the darkness. Shortly after, under the light, the aggressor stands up victorious. The other inmates freeze in fear. The bloodied aggressor wonders if they really think he is a mad dog from hell. Looking at the courtyard full of knocked out guys, he knows they all got it wrong. Meanwhile, Amamori watches the scene in silence. He cannot believe the massacre that just happened. The aggressor walks toward the exit. He remembers that the place he came from was much worse. He grips the bars with his bloodied, bandaged hand. He is ready for whatever comes next. Opening the door to the past, Amamori remembers his life was total trash. He walks through the empty school hallways, where everything seemed gray and dull. Trembling with fear in the middle of the hall, he says things were just like that. Everything changed when he finally met that sinister guy. The guy peeks into a storage room. He thinks he will finally be safe in there. Desperate, Amamori runs to a sports room. He shuts the door quickly to hide. Inside, fear hits him hard. His legs start shaking uncontrollably. He tries to stay silent, gritting his teeth in pure terror as sweat drips down. Crouched on the floor, Amamori realizes things went south. He sees he has become the beast's next target. To make matters worse, heavy footsteps echo right near his hiding spot. Cornered and shivering, Amamori nearly bites his fingers off hearing his name echo outside. Meanwhile, the pursuer walks calmly down the hall. He wonders where the guy hid himself. In that tense silence, the only certainty is that in this cruel world, no place is truly locked. In the dark, Amamori mentally begs for the danger to pass. He wants the guy to leave already. Despair hits hard. The poor guy cries in terror, praying not to be found. Suddenly, a voice in the dark announces it found Amamori. His hiding spot was discovered. The guy freezes completely. He can only think that he is in deep trouble. With his heart racing, he realizes his only option is to run. The aggressor already appears before him with a bizarre smile, blocking his path. Amamori turns to ice with fear upon hearing his name. Realizing that this is worse than hell itself, a bizarre noise echoes through the room. The sound shatters the silence. Amamori is slammed hard into the floor. He is completely defenseless and shaking with fear. His pursuer emerges while laughing. He tells the guy to close his eyes to feel nothing. With a sadistic smile, he promises to land the hit on the first try this time. Trapped and helpless, Amamori can only cry and whimper in pure desperation. The attacker mounts Amamori, wearing brass knuckles. He asks what is scarier than hell. Then, the creep starts wailing on him without mercy. He screams at Amamori to stop eating like a fat pig. After the beating, the guy simply drags Amamori by his hair. He is left completely broken and covered in blood. The attacker throws Amamori into the room and complains that the brass knuckles broke too quickly. In this cruel place, the rule is clear. The weak have no chance of survival. Suddenly, blood starts to drip. The situation has become truly sinister. The red mess keeps spreading. This prepares the viewer for a heavy revelation about this place. It turns out that in the country of Era, juvenile crimes were bizarre. The law fixed nothing. Criminals would just laugh in the face of justice. Victim families cried without end. The government changed the law, but for him that was just empty talk. Instead of punishment, juvenile delinquency only rose. Now might makes right over there. To the bullies, it is all just a joke. For the victims, it becomes an endless nightmare. No one has the courage to stand up to the strong. Despair takes over. With no way out, only the worst ending remains. Meanwhile, school life goes on as normal for those unaffected. Outside, the climate of cowardice claims another victim. A group of bullies corners a defenseless kid in an alley. They are ready to start their heavy harassment. One of them slaps the boy across the face. He mocks him, saying his brother is in prison for murder. Making fun of him, the loser even asks why he doesn't call his criminal brother for help. Out of nowhere, the guy steals his wallet. He calls it a tax for being a criminal's brother. Furious, the boy screams that they are wrong about his brother. The answer comes fast. A brutal punch hits the poor kid right in the face. They tell him to shut his mouth. They start kicking the boy while he is down. After the ordeal, Amamori walks home alone. He is bruised and keeps his head low. He stares into space. He is just grateful to have survived. Another day. Amamori finds an abandoned puppy. It is also hurt in the middle of a dark alley. Amamori pets the animal. He says they are both in the same boat and full of scars. Suddenly, a heavy commotion breaks out nearby. The protagonist freezes in fear. He watches the cowardice. He tries to summon some courage. He yells at the attacker to leave the guy alone. The bully keeps stomping on the victim. The victim begs desperately for help from the ground. Amamori freezes when he sees the rival school uniform on the fallen boy. The attacker notices him. He flashes a wicked smile like he has found another prey. The bully walks over. He puts a hand on his shoulder. He says a very cynical hello. Surrounded by 3 guys with the victim bleeding, he starts stuttering in pure terror. With no way out, he opens his wallet trembling. He hands over all the money he has. The attacker opens Amamori's wallet. He gets furious at the low amount. He complains that even a dog would have more. Returning the wallet, he warns that he wants lunch money tomorrow without fail. Trembling, Amamori just agrees. The guys leave laughing at him. He stays there standing in silence. He swallows his pride after being humiliated. Meanwhile, the other boy stays dumped on the alley floor. He cries in pain and despair. Out of nowhere, Amamori decides to intervene. He gets the attacker's attention asking for a moment. He is dying of fear. He asks if the bully can let the other boy go. The guy makes a sound of disdain. He is irritated by the audacity. The attacker claims the kid's brother is a killer. He says everyone there is to blame. The attacker corners Amamori. He warns him not to get too full of himself. Valo then squares up to Amamori. He shouts if he has the guts to say that in front of Kanemoto. Amamori freezes instantly at the mention of Kanemoto. The sadistic playboy ruled the school. He made life a living hell. The guy was a rich brat who beat others out of pure boredom. He chose Amamori as a target on day 1. While everyone laughed and gossiped behind his back, he felt like he was losing his mind. The humiliation was constant. Kanemoto rode him hard, suffocating and breaking his spirit. He made it clear that death was the only way out. Kanemoto tells Amamori to vanish if he does not want to be embarrassed tomorrow. Totally stunned, the protagonist just turns around and starts walking away. As he flees, sweating in panic, he apologizes mentally for being too weak to help. In reality, he lacked the strength to save the poor guy bleeding on the ground. The worst part is the kid keeps getting beaten and begging for help in the alley. The attacker walks away laughing. He tells him to curse his own fate. Amamori just lowers his head. The protagonist keeps walking alone. He thinks he is a massive failure. He keeps apologizing for being so pathetic. With tears streaming down and teeth clenched, he drowns in guilt. He keeps asking for forgiveness. Suddenly the loneliness hits hard. The guy accepts he has no friends and is completely alone. He stops at the top of the stairs. He is lost in the emptiness of that cold night. The atmosphere becomes heavy in a messy room with a lazy guy and a terrified girl. Out of nowhere, the brute demands her salary. He tells her to hand it over without complaining. Terrified, she tries to explain that money was for the month's groceries. Desperation sets in. The brute slams a bottle on the table. He tells her to shut her mouth right now. That is when the door starts opening slowly. It brings even more tension to the shack. The attacker beats Amamori's mother. He tells her to use her body to earn money on the streets. Young Amamori hears the screams. He covers his ears, paralyzed by pure fear. Sobbing, he apologizes to his mother in his thoughts. He feels too weak to help. Meanwhile, the attacker humiliates everyone. He shouts that they are trash and nothing more than dogs. Those harsh insults stick in the boy's mind. They leave him completely broken and unresponsive. The bully throws Amamori to the ground. He orders him to lick the dirt off his shoe until it shines. Humiliated and weeping, the protagonist is forced to lick the guy's boot while enduring cruel taunts. The jerk starts mocking his parents. He calls everyone dogs while his friends laugh. Amamori remembers his mother and his happy past. With blood in his eyes, he loses control. He screams at them not to talk about his mother. Suddenly, Amamori's mind flashes back in time. He is running desperately through a scene of panic. He tries to save a woman from a violent man with a bottle. He shouts for him to stop. The attacker is furious at the interference. He glares at the boy with pure hatred. The monster tells him to get out of the way. He smashes the glass bottle directly on the protagonist's head. The glass shatters. Blood begins to stream down. Amamori freezes, confused. He collapses to the ground in the middle of the chaos. The big attacker yells to begin the slaughter. His mother is terrified. Fallen and desperate, the protagonist spots a box cutter lying on the table. He does not think twice. He reaches out and grabs the blade to fight back. Clutching the weapon, he trembles with pure rage. He is ready to do whatever it takes. The attacker moves to hit his mother. Amamori decides it is now or never. In desperation, he points the blade and yells for the guy to stop. The monster freezes instantly. He is in total disbelief at the boy's reaction. On the floor, his mother panics and begs him to calm down. He stands firm and vows that this time he will protect her no matter what. The attacker spits on the ground. He has completely run out of patience. The guy starts to unbuckle his belt. He complains that this whole thing is a joke. He yells that the kids already caused trouble in the street and now there is this farce at home. The monster takes a heavy step forward. He is ready to strike. Amamori's mother begs him to stop while the protagonist trembles, holding the box cutter. The attacker lunges forward. He goes completely insane. He yells at Amamori to try his luck. He calls the boy a loser. The aggressor swings his belt with full force. He warns the kid that he will put him in his place. As the strike flies in, Amamori freezes in pure terror. He is already gripping a box cutter. He squeezes the handle with all his might. He is trembling with fear of what is about to happen. Cold sweat drips as the protagonist feels totally cornered by such relentless cruelty. Desperate, Amamori grabs the blade with both hands. He lunges forward to defend himself. The strike lands squarely. Blood splatters everywhere in a bizarre way. Suddenly the sky turns dark. A sinister storm begins to pour down. Inside the house, the atmosphere is tense. The silhouette turns to full-blown aggression. The attacker pins Amamori against the window. He is ready to finish the poor kid without mercy. But suddenly, the tables turn. Blood splatters and the attacker freezes in disbelief. The bloodied box cutter falls to the floor. The worst has just happened. The blade hits the ground. Amamori collapses, terrified by what he has done. With his face covered in blood, the protagonist goes into shock. He can only wonder why this happened. He looks ahead and sees his mother hurt in the arms of that monster. He screams for her in despair. Suddenly the aggressor becomes furious for being stabbed. He takes it all out on the boy's mother. He grips the poor woman tightly. Amamori is completely desperate. He only wanted to protect his mother from all that violence. The aggressor goes absolutely insane with hatred. He screams and calls the boy a coward. Inside, Amamori crawls on the floor, scared to death. The beast advances, telling him to try again. Out of nowhere, two desperate hands grab the attacker's pants to try and stop the monster. The man glares with blood in his eyes. Amamori's mother begs on her knees, calling out to him. She cries, pleading for him to forgive the carnage. She says it was an accident. Full of rage, the aggressor screams for them to let him go immediately. The monster loses his mind. He hits Amamori's mother because she stepped in the way. Meanwhile, seeing his mother all bruised and bleeding, Amamori panics and screams for her, crying uncontrollably. The protagonist begs on his knees for the man to stop the cruelty. Suddenly, someone grabs the attacker. He is completely confused. The stepfather flies into a blind rage. He screams that he will teach the boy a lesson today. The boy's mother, bruised and beaten, tearfully begs him to run away. The tension rises. She swallows hard. Desperation hits her like a wave. Trembling with fear, the boy summons his strength. He vows to protect her no matter what. She insists he does not need to worry. She orders her son to get out of there fast. The attacker stomps his foot on the ground. He is surrounded by empty bottles and scattered drinks. Desperate and injured, the mother screams. She begs him to run away right now. Collapsed on the floor, she freezes in pure terror. She does not know what to do. The boy runs away crying. He apologizes to his mother for leaving her behind. The stepfather is furious. He screams, calling the boy a wretched brat. The stepfather lunges at her. He yells that everything is her fault. Fallen and bleeding, she cries. She calls out Misaki's name. With fading strength, she begs him to get out of there. Under a heavy downpour, the boy runs alone through the dark street. He flees, feeling like trash for failing to protect his own mother. In the rain, Misaki walks, devastated. He apologizes to his mom for being so useless. A girl passing by notices the young man walking without an umbrella. She feels bad seeing him like that, soaked to the bone in the middle of the street. She keeps staring as Misaki walks past. He ignores everyone and keeps going, completely shattered inside. He can only beg internally for no one to look at him. Suddenly, someone places an umbrella over Misaki. He is in disbelief. A kind girl appears, sharing the space. She says she will lend him the umbrella. With a smile, she tells him to head home so he does not get sick. She hands him the handle. The protagonist is completely stunned. The girl runs off into the storm. Amamori stands there, frozen by that kind gesture. The two girls walk away. One questions the act, but the other follows her brother's advice. Alone in the rain, Amamori thinks about heading home. He realizes he has nowhere to go. Suddenly, he feels something brush against his leg in the storm. He jumps, startled. His eyes widen in confusion. He looks down and locks eyes with a wet puppy that barks at him. Amamori stares at the stray. He wonders if he knows this dog. While the dog barks, he pets it. He regrets having no food or home to offer. The puppy barks and moves away. He wonders if he should follow. Without thinking twice, the protagonist chases after the dog in the downpour. He yells for the dog to wait. The rain gets heavy between the giant buildings of that gray, lonely city. Amamori runs after the stray in the storm. The dog stops and barks. The guy catches up, out of breath and exhausted. The protagonist stares at the animal, confused. They stand on the wet sidewalk beside a building. It hits him. He realizes the dog wanted to bring him to this exact spot. With nowhere to go, Amamori drops his umbrella. He curls up on the ground with the stray, deciding to spend the night there. The next day, the sun rises over the station. A loud bark breaks the silence. Amamori is puzzled. He sees a huge dog cornering his small companion. Tension rises. Growls fill the air and a mocking voice appears from nowhere. The guy goes rigid. Suddenly, Nagao shows up with two girls. He claims Amamori is his best friend. Fallen on the ground and terrified, Amamori asks what he is doing there. Nagao says he lives nearby. The blonde girl is confused and asks if they are really friends. With a cynical smile, Nagao replies instantly that of course they are. He says he would die of boredom without Amamori. Meanwhile, the little dog starts barking non-stop. It is cornered on the floor. Amamori shakes with fear. The little dog tries to defend its master. It growls at the danger. The aggressor looks down with a sadistic face. He demands to know why the boy is silent. The guy starts slapping Amamori's face. He tells him to bark like a stray. Humiliated, the MC grits his teeth in rage and helplessness. He cannot react. Losing patience, the aggressor says he is tired of them. Amamori freezes in fear. He starts stuttering and fails to bark for the guy. The aggressor pulls his hair hard. The poor guy groans in pain. The brute is irritated by the delay. He orders him to bark right now. The little dog cannot stand it. It bites the bully's arm hard. The guy recoils while bleeding. He curses the stray and calls it trash. Everyone around is shocked. They cannot believe it. Amamori looks at the stray. He asks if the animal really protected him there. The aggressor is furious. He tells the MC that he has crossed the line. Holding his injured arm, the guy orders his pit bull Samamuru to attack. The two dogs face off. They growl and show their teeth. They are ready to fight. Suddenly, the monster pit bull lunges with a bizarre growl. It goes straight for the stray. The giant pit bull slams the stray onto the ground. The massacre begins without mercy. The beast bites the puppy's neck. Blood flies everywhere. The stray cries out in pain. It is completely defeated. The MC is desperate in the corner. He does not know what to do. While the animal suffers, the sadistic aggressor just holds his wounded arm. He wears a wicked smile. Desperate, Amamori clasps his hands while crying. He begs the guy to stop this cowardice. The aggressor puts Amamori in a chokehold. He forces the boy to watch what happens next. The pit bull tears the stray apart. The villain says the weak cannot protect anything. Crying, Amamori begs him to stop. He warns that the little dog is going to die right there. The attacker does not care. He clicks his tongue, mocking the man's despair. The sadist grabs Amamori's hair. He forces him to watch the animal die. The attacker whispers the truth right in his face. He warns Amamori never to challenge him again. The pit bull bites down hard. It starts to tear the poor stray apart without mercy. The beast rips the puppy open in a sea of red. Blood flies everywhere. Seeing such cowardice, Amamori falls into total despair. He screams with all his might. The attacker pulls his hair from behind. He forces the man to watch the slaughter. Suddenly, the attacker yanks Amamori's hair with force. It makes the poor guy moan in pain. Holding the man on his knees, the attacker looks at the floor with disgust. He calls it filthy. He throws Amamori hard onto the ground. He lands right beside the puppy that was just destroyed. Face to face with the bloody animal, Amamori hears the attacker tell him to eat the dog for forgiveness. The psychopath says he will count to 5. He threatens the protagonist if he tries to resist. Kneeling and trembling, Amamori cries. He thinks he had finally escaped his loneliness. Looking at the bloody pet on the ground, he wonders why they take everything from him. He remembers when the animal protected him. The pet gave him the courage to try to protect someone else. But in the end, it all went wrong. He did nothing. Now he is completely alone again. Filled with hate and sobbing, he wonders if he is not allowed even a little warmth. With a clenched fist and pure rage, Amamori wonders if he was born only to lose everything. He stands up abruptly. The attacker is completely surprised by the attitude. The attacker does not like it at all. He demands to know what he thinks he is doing. Staring with blood in his eyes, the jerk asks if he is really going to try to fight back. He gets close, provoking him. He says that if Amamori touches him, he is going straight to juvenile detention. The attacker gets right in his face. He says his brother loved that place, but the protagonist will die very quickly. Then, he warns that he will hunt the guy down until he is dead. Not even suicide will fix anything. Suddenly, the jerk hugs Amamori. He threatens to sell his mother. He says his friends will take care of her. At that moment, he starts to mock him. He asks if he should call the guy a dog, imitating a bark. Suddenly, the aggressor insults his mother. Amamori cries out of hatred. He is nearly breaking from such rage. A bizarre dark laughter starts to echo through the darkness. The sound keeps echoing loudly. The atmosphere turns heavy and tense. Amamori stares at the aggressor up close. He asks if his rival knew one thing. The aggressor confesses he always trembled in fear at the name Nagao. But now everything has changed. The protagonist is shaking with pure hate. He delivers a violent punch to the enemy's face. Amamori grabs the guy in a rage and sets the record straight. There are things he should never say. The aggressor goes berserk. He pulls the protagonist's hair and screams indignantly about being hit. The guy starts beating Amamori up. Even while bleeding, the protagonist warns he is going to do something. Out of nowhere, he goes to the extreme. He bites the aggressor's nose with everything he has. He rips a piece of the guy's nose off with his teeth. Blood splatters everywhere. The aggressor screams in agony. His face is wrecked and covered in blood after that beating. The girls who saw everything go into total panic. They start screaming for help. The guy falls defeated to the floor as they run away, desperately calling for their mothers. Amamori stands victorious and covered in bruises. He glares at his fallen rival with a bloody mouth. Our protagonist gives a bizarre smile, like someone who lost his mind after that insane fight. Time passes. The mood shifts completely. The scene cuts directly to the front of the juvenile court. The judge slams his gavel and announces the session has begun. He starts reading that the defendant is 15-year-old Amamori. The judge states he beat up his classmate Nagal. After unleashing all his fury, the protagonist ended up in court. At the police station, he tried to report the bullying. The rival's mother bribed everyone to cover it up. To make matters worse, the protagonist's own father took money and locked his mother away to keep her from helping. With no one on his side, the protagonist was cornered. In the end, the judge laid down the law and convicted the boy. After 5 years in juvenile hall for assault, Momori finally left that hellhole behind. Guards escorted him out. What lay ahead would be even worse for our protagonist. He had just arrived at another bizarre place. He walked straight into danger. It is a cruel place where only the strongest survive. The doors slam shut. Momori is officially entering an endless hell. Suddenly, a nasty storm begins in the middle of the dark night. Rain lashes against the barbed wire fences of the prison. You can hear the heavy chains dragging on the inmate's feet. The guard shoves Momori hard. He screams at him to move it. The boy is outraged. He was the victim, but the monster Kanemoto walked free. The group is led to the intake room for processing. The guard yells at everyone to strip and move fast. No wasting time. The inmates start undressing. They show off heavy tattoos. Momori is covered in scars. During registration, the guard asks his name. The protagonist answers quietly and stiffly. The guard hates his tone and tells him to speak up. It makes the boy even more tense. The guard glares at the protagonist with a cold look. He senses the kid is trouble. He asks mockingly if he was the one who bit the other guy's nose off. The guard hands him a paper and tells him to memorize the number 8725. Water drips off the protagonist's head. A guard warns him that the number is his name now. The guards line everyone up in their underwear. They order them to move quickly. Momori arrives at the reformatory shackled and chained. He is ready for processing. The masked inspector keeps it real. He orders him to raise his hands and turn around. With no choice, the boy raises his cuffed arms, showing the scars on his skin. He turns his back for the exam while the doctor takes notes. His file is placed on the desk. The boy's entry into that hell is official. The doctor puts on his gloves and keeps it real. He tells him to take off his underwear. Amamori freezes up instantly. He grits his teeth in humiliation. Even the toughest handcuffed guys get rattled in a situation like this. There is nothing else he can do. He pulls his underwear down so the exam can start. Things get intense when the doctor makes the creepiest face imaginable. Amamori cries out of pure hatred. He feels his dignity is gone forever. He thinks that all the fear and shame have already defeated him. They take his mugshot. Amamori gets a 5-year sentence for assault. Broken, the protagonist feels he has lost his humanity right there. Now, he must face reality inside that sinister reformatory. Everyone gathers in the yard. They form lines under the heavy watch of the guards. Suddenly, a guard shouts that the warden has arrived. He orders everyone to stand. The boss appears in a suit and clears his throat to speak. He smiles and tells everyone to sit down. He claims this place is not a prison and is not too strict. He asks for their trust but warns the place is isolated with no women in sight. Amamori thinks the place seems chill. They announce the cell assignments. The warden flashes a bizarre smile and says they will learn to be upstanding citizens. The guard tells the rookie to move it and head to the cells. The veterans spot the new guy and start cheering. The fun is about to begin. The guys goad each other, laughing, eager to get their hands on Amamori. As he walks by, the inmates eye him like prey. They want to use the kid as a punching bag. He keeps quiet and holds his things tightly. He tries not to draw attention in that tense hallway. Soon after, the guard in front flashes a creepy smile that spells trouble. The guard turns and says he prepared a special cell for the newbie. They arrive at a dark and sinister area. It looks like a living nightmare. The guard stops in front of a cell and tells the boy that is his place. Amamori breaks into a cold sweat. The guard stands behind him with a wicked smirk. Suddenly, the guard shoves him inside without mercy. Tell him to enjoy his stay inside. The MC faces a crowd of inmates staring at him as the door slams shut. Right away, a guy flashes a twisted grin and asks for the new guy's name. As soon as Amamori enters the cell, they surround him. They mock his name. Out of nowhere, the MC takes a violent slap to the face. His glasses fly off. The attacker yells, furious, demanding his prison registration number. Bruised and bleeding, Amamori stammers the number. He is terrified. The guy says it is time for the initiation ritual. Amamori freezes in pure fear. He stares at the attacker with blood in his mouth. Suddenly, the food basin goes flying from a powerful kick. Things get ugly. The guys start beating him without mercy. To top it off, the final blow lands hard and knocks the MC out cold. Lying on the floor, he tries to protect his head. The attacker points a finger and sets him straight. He says the MC is now his dog. On the floor and beaten up, Amamori tries to hold on. He tells himself he needs to resist. The blonde inmate walks over. He notices Amamori gritting his teeth and asks if there is a problem. The attacker yanks Amamori's hair hard. He smiles wickedly and says enough with the jokes. The blonde inmate says he will teach him the rules of this place. He explains the reformatory has a strict hierarchy. Amamori is at the very bottom. The attacker orders him to hand over all his belongings to the cell leader without complaint. Clutching his things on the floor, Amamori hears he must never defy those in charge. The inmate leans in close to his ear. He starts making a heavy threat with a twisted smile. He warns that things will get very ugly if he slips up. The attacker says he needs to use the bathroom. He orders Amamori to act as his footstool. Amamori is in shock, unable to process it. The attacker repeats his demand. He explains the sink is too high. Since the toilet has a flush limit, he uses the sink. Then, without a hint of mercy, the guy stomps hard on his back. Amamori tries to climb to the sink. The bully mocks him, calling this humiliating job an honor for outcasts. The bully lets out a smug, relaxed sigh. He starts demeaning the protagonist in the worst way possible. Amamori is left completely devastated. He trembles in terror on the cell floor amidst all that filth. Then the kid stops being a doormat. He grinds his teeth with hate and lets out a groan of pure rage. Suddenly he loses control. He slams the bully's head hard against the metal sink. With his face covered in blood, the bully loses it. He screams that he is going to end him. Things get ugly for Amamori. The entire cell surrounds the guy to punish his mistake. Fallen and bleeding, the protagonist is already saying goodbye to his mother. He thinks he is done for. But out of nowhere, a guy appears in front of him. He tells everyone to back off. The bullies get pissed. They ask if the man with glasses really wants to protect the kid. With total, he tells them to let it go. He says he will handle the lecture himself. The bully is furious about the intrusion. He warns that it is none of his business. The man with glasses tries to calm him down. He takes a bandage from his pocket smoothly and whispers that the bosses have their reasons. Beating him is fine, but there is a catch. The air grows heavy as he drops the truth. If the rookie ends up dying, things will get messy. The bully freezes on the spot. He thinks it over and decides to back down. He agrees the guy has a point. The chubby guy stomps away, grumbling that the guy is a good talker for a loser. The bully tells Masakita he is leaving the injured kid to him, but the responsibility is shared. The tension in the cell finally cools down. Everyone moves away, leaving the beaten protagonist on the floor. Seeing the poor guy trembling and bruised, the man with glasses extends his hand with some ointment. He crouches down and hands over the medicine. He tells the boy to clean himself up. Bruised and battered, Amamori asks why he was saved. The man with glasses hands him the medicine and tells him to wake up. He gives him the cold hard truth. He has to hold on tight no matter what comes. If he doesn't, he will end up dying in there. The protagonist says he cannot do it. But the man promises to help if he truly wants to live. They begin to plan the reformatory routine. Everything is timed. Time is split between chores and cleaning. The man explains how the groups are divided. He shows who works in the laundry and who cleans the rest. Suddenly a metallic noise echoes. Amamori looks back, startled by the snap. A guard opens the gate and announces it is time for a break. He warns everyone not to cause any trouble. A rush starts in the hallway. Inmates fly past the cells. Gossip spreads like wildfire. The guys wonder if the trouble will start again. Clueless, the MC asks what is happening. The mentor tells him to look closely. The man in glasses shows a map of how the reformatory is divided. He looks back and gives it to Amamori straight. That is the true face of this place. Outside, the tension rises. A bunch of inmates scream behind the bars. In the middle of the yard, a shirtless guy lets out a heavy sigh before the fight. A tattooed inmate stares down Kujo. He yells that he will crush his opponent today for sure. A brute arrives, cracking his knuckles behind the aggressor. The aggressor sneers. He smirks and gives a warning. If they want to go for real, stop wasting breath. He lands a violent punch on the blonde inmate's face. The yard turns into total chaos. Everyone jumps on him at once. On the sidelines, other inmates scream furiously for them to finish it. Amamori is stunned by the violence. He wonders what kind of madness this is. He feels desperate seeing the brawl unfold without anyone to break it up. The MC sees the guards just smoking and ignoring everything. The mentor gives him the cold truth. All that chaos is the real face of the reformatory. He explains how the place is structured. Sunday classes have been cancelled. In there, fists are the only law that truly works. Amamori is completely lost. The mentor explains that physical strength is everything there. He says that the stronger you are, the higher your status will be. The strongest guys run everything. They even end up bossing the guards around. This makes things easier for the guards, as long as nobody dies in all this brutality. The mentor explains that the guards pretend they see nothing. The MC listens to all of this very seriously. He realizes the system works exactly this way. The crowd at the fence goes wild and pressures the fighters. There is a lot of betting money at stake. Meanwhile, the attacker crushes 4 guys alone in the courtyard. He gives them no chance at all. He goes all out against them. He grabs his opponent and shows who is in charge. Even all beaten and bleeding, the guy flashes a cynical smile. The attacker gets really irritated. He mounts him and prepares a violent punch. The blow lands perfectly. It crushes the guy's face and sends blood flying. Suddenly, the blonde inmate tries to jump him from behind. The attacker is way too fast. He grabs his arm and snaps the bone without mercy. The attacker delivers a bizarre blow that hits the guy square on. He is left stunned. The force of the kick sends the poor guy flying into the fence. The blonde inmate freezes completely as he sees everyone knocked out. Cold sweat drips as he grinds his teeth. He wonders if that guy is actually a monster. He clenches his bandaged fist with all his might. He tries to regain his composure. The blonde inmate loses it and charges in, screaming at the top of his lungs. He runs toward the attacker. The attacker stands his ground waiting for him. The attacker lands a precise punch right on his chin. Blood sprays everywhere. The blow is so violent the blonde flies back and lands knocked out. In the end the attacker stands there catching his breath. His rival is destroyed on the ground. He grabs his shirt firmly. The crowd at the fence goes crazy as the fight ends. He throws his shirt over his shoulder and walks away calmly. Everyone is left jaw-dropped by his physical prowess. The crowd raises their fists and starts chanting the monster's name, Kojo. Everyone is super hyped. They scream that the guy is an absolute beast and the best one there. Mamor freezes in the middle of the chaos. He thinks about how unbelievable that beast is. Watching the guy walk away, Mamor is in shock. He thinks he doesn't even look human. Suddenly the brute gives him a sinister side-eye. The atmosphere becomes even more tense. The new chapter begins with Kujo deep in thought in the dark. He has a very serious look on his face. Back in the cell, Mamor cannot sleep. He wishes he had at least a tenth of that guy's strength. It is impossible for someone weak like him. The protagonist turns over in bed. He covers himself up and tries to forget about it. Silence takes over the reformatory. The night passes very slowly. The next day, the sun rises slowly over the dreary morning. At lunchtime, the cafeteria is packed. The inmates talk and eat their food. Mamor asks why no one was punished for the bizarre fight yesterday. The mentor explains that the law of the strongest rules here. The guards do not even care. Skeptical of the rule, the protagonist wants to know if anyone can challenge the guys. The man with glasses gives it to Mamor straight. It is useless if you are not strong. The rules in there are twisted. You can simply kill your opponent without mercy. Hearing this, Mamor freezes mid-bite. He is in absolute shock at the danger. He says he understands. For those who cannot fight, there is only one way. Either take it in silence or find a strong protector to survive. Suddenly the atmosphere in the cafeteria changes. Someone shouts for everyone to gather quickly. Mamor gets tense. Soon after, a giant sinister silhouette appears. The guys warn that the boss of the place has arrived. One inmate pulls another, telling him to stand up fast. They warn never to make the North Block boss angry. The boss's right-hand man approaches cautiously. He sucks up to him and asks what brought him there. The big guy walks past without saying a word. He leaves his sycophant standing there with a fake smile and an embarrassed look. Suddenly heavy footsteps echo through the cafeteria. The air turns cold instantly. The giant boss stops right in front of Mamor. He asks if he is general. Shaking with fear and sweating cold, the MC can only stutter a yes. Without giving him room to breathe, the brute grabs him by the collar. Staring the boy down, the guy introduces himself as Reso Kanemoto. The boss drops the bombshell. He is the brother of the man whose nose Amamori bit off. He warns that he brought the MC to the North Block to take good care of him. He screams to everyone that Amamori is his. Anyone who touches him is dead. The poor guy is thrown hard to the ground as the boss struts away. From a distance, a bizarre bald inmate watches the scene, drooling. He finds the situation beautiful. Amamori tries to help the wounded man. He tells them to go to the infirmary as everyone gossips about the boss. The rumors are grim. The rookie will likely go through the same hell as before. After that, the MC goes to clean the restrooms. He is glad the place is empty and clean. He hopes to stay safe there. Suddenly, a strange noise begins. The atmosphere becomes incredibly tense. The silence vanishes in the blink of an eye. A guy kicks the door and spots Amamori. He says he found the new kid on the block. A giant bald brute appears with a bizarre and wicked smile on his face. He corners the MC, calling him fresh meat. The poor guy trembles, asking what he wants. The giant gets close and tells him not to be afraid. He says he just wants to play a little. He lunges at him and Amamori screams in desperation for him to stop. The mood shifts completely as the scene cuts to the reformatory shower running at full blast. Under the water, Amamori freezes in pure terror. The brute asks if he likes the situation. The bizarre bald man gives a disgusting smile and says this is great. Amamori begs to be let go. The brute grabs him and tells him not to be so tense. Amidst the abuse in the water, the guy says they are going to have some fun in the shower. Amamori tries to resist. Desperation hits hard as he is cornered. The brute appears from behind and grabs the young man. He offered no chance to escape. The bald man pulled his hair with brutal force. The boy froze in pain. The aggressor enjoyed the reaction. He said the rookie was much feistier than he had imagined. He loved it while smashing Mamori's head against the wall. Suddenly, a hand grabbed the brute's arm. Someone ordered him to stop immediately. The bald man was furious. The man in glasses warned that the boss gave clear orders. He told it like it is. If they hurt the protagonist, everyone will have huge trouble. The brute clicked his tongue in anger for having to end the fun. The giant gave a bizarre smile. He said he was just playing around a bit. The brute glared at the man in glasses. He said he could take the beating instead of the rookie. The bald man warned that protecting the kid would cost him dearly later. After the threat, the brute walked away. He left the man in glasses deep in thought in the bathroom. Already on the floor, Mamori asked if he was okay. He panicked, wanting to know how to escape that monster. Helping the boy up, he warned that refusing the reformatory boss would bring heavy revenge. Mamori walked exhausted through the hallway after cleaning the bathroom. He complained that the work was too hard. Suddenly, fast footsteps echoed behind him in the dark corridor. When he turned around, he faced a group running toward him with murder in their eyes. Scared, Mamori froze instantly. He asked what they were doing. It was too late. The attacker did not answer. He landed a violent punch right in the protagonist's face, sending him flying. The guys started kicking Momori on the ground because he messed with their boss. Dr. Kanda appeared asking what was happening. The guys said it was just a punishment. One of the cowards smiled and said they were just teaching the poor guy a lesson. She did not care. She told them not to overdo it to avoid trouble during roll call. The guys decided to leave. They warned they would leave the rest to her. The attacker glared at the protagonist lying on the floor. He said he got lucky this time. The scene cut directly to the door of the reformatory infirmary. Inside, the doctor warned the boy lying down that the bandage would hurt a bit. She started rubbing the cotton right over the wounds. Amamori has nasty wounds on his back. Seeing him suffer, she tells him not to hold back his tears. She says to ask for help if needed. Battered on the cot, Amamori tries to hide his pain. He claims he is fine. The doctor stares at him in silence. She is stunned by his toughness. She realizes the guy is much tougher than he looks. He has more courage than she imagined. Time passes in the dark cell. The sun begins to set behind the barred window. Amamori starts to worry. Massacre went to clean the bathroom for him, and suddenly vanished. He remembers that bizarre bald guy and freezes. He wonders if that guy harmed his friend. The MC falls into total despair. He breaks into a cold sweat just imagining the worst. Without thinking twice, he rushes to the bars. He shouts desperately for a guard. The noise wakes up the cell boss, who is furious. He clicks his tongue in annoyance. Amamori keeps banging on the door. He screams for any guard to help. The boss loses his temper. He throws the MC to the ground and tells him to shut up. Trembling with fear, the boy can only stutter while calling for the room leader. He grabs the boss's leg and begs. He explains that Massacre disappeared in the bathroom. The cell boss gives it to Amamori straight. He says they will find the guy without all the drama. The mood gets heavier when the boss tells him to stay quiet. The guy complains he was in the middle of a perfect sleep. Powerless, the MC drops to his knees. He clenches his fist on the ground in rage. The boss walks away. Amamori panics, not knowing what happened to Massacre. Time passes. The tension in the reformatory grows. The hallway fills with inmates. The sound of footsteps echoes loudly. Amamori pushes through the crowd. He begs them to move so he can pass. Suddenly, he freezes in his tracks at a bizarre sight. He is in total shock. His eyes nearly pop out. The guard passes by carrying a broken Massacre. He orders everyone to clear the way. Despair hits him hard. They carry the poor guy away. The other inmates start pointing and gossiping about his condition. Looking at the pool of blood in the cell, a guy comments that the attacker showed no mercy. The silence in the hallway turns heavy. Tension rises among the prisoners. Amamori freezes in disbelief when he hears a brute laugh and asks if the boy is still alive. Amamori is furious at the situation. His fist begins to tremble with rage. He completely loses his cool and yells, asking if it was the bald guy who did it. The guy doesn't even care. He gives a mocking smile and says that was a blast. The bald guy gets right in his face, taunting him, and says he really wants to play with him. The big guy lunges at him. The other inmates laugh and ask him to share the story later. Amamori is seething with rage, thinking that guy is a massive pain in the neck. The brute takes it out on Amamori with a kick to the chest, shouting that this is his job. With Amamori fallen and shaking on the ground, the brute walks away, warning that the fight isn't over. Later in the shower, Amamori appears, humiliated, behind the attacker. The water falls and drains away, washing away the tension of that heavy moment. Amamori is lost in thought. Even Nagai was scared by the rookie. Who is this guy? He laments, wanting to be strong enough to protect the people he actually cares about in this place. The guy in the shower breaks his train of thought and tells him to beat it if he is finished. Suddenly he realizes something bizarre. He remembers Massacre and is shocked. Meanwhile, a strange sound of footsteps echoes through the dark corridor of the reformatory cells. Amamori enters the cell and sees Massacre all broken, lying on the bed. He cannot believe the damage. Poor Massacre apologizes, saying he will only continue to cause trouble. Amamori blames himself and thinks about how he can get stronger. Suddenly his friend opens his eyes and the protagonist is startled. Masaki warns him that they already took care of him, and he just wants to pass out on that bed. Desperate, Amamori starts to cry and takes the blame for everything that happened to his friend. Lying on the bed, Masaki holds his hand and asks him not to cry. Your safety is what matters. Still sobbing, the protagonist asks why his friend went so far for him. Hearing this, Masaki lets out a faint sigh. He stares at the infirmary ceiling. He places a hand on his bruised chest. He tries to process the heavy situation. Lying in bed, Masaki looks at Amamori. He says he reminds him of his younger brother. He shows an old photo. He says his brother was bullied for being shy. The boy ended up killing a bully. Masaki took the blame to protect him. While Amamori looks at the photo in disbelief, his friend smiles. He hopes his brother is living a normal life. The protagonist freezes as he recognizes the boy who was bullied at school. He discovers the truth. Lying in bed, Masaki asks if Amamori knew his brother. The protagonist confirms it. Badly beaten, the young man wants to know if his little brother is doing well out there. Forcing a smile, Amamori lies. He says the boy is doing great with his friends. Coughing hard, Masaki feels relieved. He says his sacrifice was not a mistake. Soon after, Amamori decides to report Nagao. His friend grabs his arm. He is desperate and confused. Amamori cannot believe it. He asks why he would do that. The wounded friend grips his arm on the bed. He tells him to shut his mouth. The man leans close to his ear. He reveals that this reformatory hides a secret. The protagonist freezes upon hearing that it is a bizarre and terrifying secret. Someone approaches Amamori. They begin to whisper a secret into his ear. Suddenly, a hand slams hard against the cell bars. The conversation is cut short. They both turn around. A voice calls for the boy. A giant man appears with a disgusting grin. He throws a provocation at them. He says it looks like they were having fun. He says he did not beat them to death yet. The protagonist cannot take it. He steps forward. He screams in the madman's face. He asks what he is talking about. The protagonist lunges at him. Tamiya grabs his arm to calm the situation. She stares the guy down and lays it out. He better watch his mouth. Nagao would not be happy to hear that inside. The bully is unfazed. He mocks them and says he would love to see Nagao's reaction. He turns his back instead of fighting. He says he needs a break and walks off with his crew. Amamori is completely lost. He asks why Tamiya is so calm. Are you really going to tell Nagao? He asks. Tamiya stares at the floor and starts to explain. We have to hide who we really are in this place. He looks up with a serious expression and adds, you have to use whatever you have. With Tamiya's hand on his chest, the protagonist asks, does this have to do with that secret from before? Tamiya cuts him off by putting a hand on his shoulder. We will go to the infirmary tomorrow. Anyway, good night. The conversation ends there. The scene cuts to Amamori climbing into bed to try and sleep. Cut to nighttime. The atmosphere feels heavy. Amamori cannot fall asleep in his bed. He is coughing and feeling paranoid. He sits up and lost in thought. Is that guy all right? An old piece of advice pops into his head. Masako always told me to just hold on. Still, Tamiya is going through all of this alone. While Tamiya sleeps, the protagonist wonders if their plan is the best way to stay safe. Lying awake, he thinks, if only I could be like that guy, to get stronger. Masako is a legend in his mind. Even Nagao fears him. He must be the strongest one here. He remembers the stories about Nagao. How did that guy fight 4 people all by himself? Suddenly the memory of the brawl is so vivid he wakes up with a start. He punches the air hard in the middle of the dark hallway. The protagonist finds the movement strange and thinks, wait, wasn't everyone sleeping? A sinister group suddenly appears heading right for them. The atmosphere turns heavy instantly. The leader of the group stops and gets straight to the point. Look at that, the rookie and Dr. Kanda. What are you doing here? But the doctor remains. Say that Tamiya is feeling sick. She is taking him to the infirmary. Meanwhile, Tamiya is completely worn out and being held up by Amamori. He asks what is going on. The MC tries to explain the situation. He says the friend's wounds have reopened. Tamiya, feeling weak, insists it is nothing serious. The guy in charge just stares at them. After thinking for a moment, he gives in. Fine, he says, but at the infirmary, a guard tries to block the treatment. Dr. Kanda steps in front of him. She stands her ground and claims full responsibility. The guard gets furious and makes a blatant threat. It is for his own good. If you want to keep your job, stay out of my way. The doctor does not even blink. With a grim look, she stares the guard down. She makes it clear she will not budge. Clenching his fist on the table, Tamiya finally gives in. Alright, if you insist, I will go. Amamori puts a hand on his shoulder and asks, make sure they treat you right, okay? I will be waiting for you. Tamiya stares at him in silence for a second. He is processing everything that is happening. The MC tells him the truth with a cold look. Do not forget what I told you. Just hang in there. As the guards take him away, he adds, you are the only one who can protect yourself. Do not trust anyone. After saying goodbye, the MC turns around and walks away with a steady pace. With a small smirk, he thinks, massacre will be just fine. The doctors will see everything and report it to the warden. He walks down the hallway. He thinks that maybe now they can finally take down the jerk responsible for everything. The scene cuts to the outside. It shows the barbed wire fence surrounding the entire place. We see everyone entering. There is a lot of noise in the background. Sitting with his tray, the MC thinks about his friend. When will he come back anyway? Meanwhile, at another table, a guy arrives with some gossip. Hey, did you hear? He drops the bomb. I heard someone tried to escape yesterday and bit the dust. The guy gives that laugh of someone who knows it all. He is loving the chaos. With a bizarre smile, he reveals where the escapee was from. The West Block. The name he drops is Massacre. Instantly, Tamiya's food tray hits the floor with a loud crash. Amamori freezes in place. He clenches his fists until they shake. Everyone nearby notices the panic on his face. The truth finally hits him. Masaki is dead. Our protagonist freezes in the middle of the cafeteria. He cannot believe what he heard. Masaki is gone. In shock, he thinks this cannot be real. The guy went to the hospital. It must be a mistake. Suddenly, the sound of heavy footsteps cuts through the tension. Someone important is arriving. It is the guards. The blonde guy who spread the rumor freezes as he sees them. The lead guard walks in and stares at everyone. The blonde kid is terrified, hoping he is not the target. The lead guard drags Katsumata with him. He walks through the cafeteria and the atmosphere turns heavy. He and his team stop in the middle of the hall. Their presence strikes fear into everyone. The lead guard speaks up to deliver the official story about Tamiya. The bombshell drops. He died instantly. He is in complete shock, refusing to believe it, but the protagonist is not buying it. He thinks it is impossible for Tamiya to lose to 2 guards. The lead guard glares at everyone and gives them a warning. Remember this well if you do not want to end up like him. With a psychopathic look he adds something else. You better stay in line and behave yourselves. Do you understand? The guards turn their backs and leave. They leave a heavy silence in the air. The scene triggers a memory for the protagonist. It is the moment they took Masaki, who waved goodbye. Not everyone is sad though. A brute smiles and comments on what a waste it is. He was starting to be fun to play with. The protagonist cannot take it anymore. He gets ready and tells the guy to stop the jokes. The bald man gives a disgusting smirk. He starts saying that Tamiya also tried to act tough at first. He says Tamiya folded when they threatened to do that in front of everyone. He just locked up right then and there. To make it worse, the guy says it is a pity. He wanted all 3 of them to play together. Amamori's blood starts to boil. He stares at the brute and screams that he will never forgive him. Blinded by rage, the protagonist attacks with everything he has. He throws the first punch. The giant brute dodges. The bald man tilts his head. He lands a heavy blow on the boy's skull. He does not stop there. He follows with a kick that sends our protagonist flying. Amamori hits the ground hard. While down he takes another hit to the gut. Nothing but blood comes out. Things have gone south fast. Sitting on top of Amamori, the man taunts him. Do you think you can get revenge with that weak effort? Go on, do your worst. He then stomps on Amamori with all his weight. It is a massive blow. The guy looks like pure rage. He is about to explode. He delivers a heavy kick while screaming, "You piece of trash." The crowd just watches. Someone comments, "I cannot believe he picked a fight with that guy." The brute stomps on Amamori's chest. The kid is already beaten to a pulp. He lifts the protagonist by the collar. He asks, furious, "Are you playing dead?" Without waiting for an answer, he punches Amamori in the face. "Get up, you little piece of shit." Suddenly, a giant hand appears. It catches the man's wrist, freezing the strike in mid-air. Nagal stopped the punch. He stares at the guy and says, "You spilled my soup." The bald man recognizes him instantly. He loses his mind and screams, "You again?" Nagal holds his punch with just one hand. He says, "Hey, listen up." The man has no chance. He drops Amamori, who was struggling to breathe. Poor guy. Seeing this, someone asks if they should help. Another cuts him off. "Forget it. We do not stand a chance." The scared guy offers his own soup to calm the beast. "I will give you mine, please." A bystander tries to hold the bald man back. He tells him to calm down and not disrespect Katsumata. The man is not having it. He hits the guy, sending him flying in front of everyone. He is beyond angry. He thinks, "Damn, if I back down now I will look like a coward." His rage turns toward our protagonist, Amamori, who lies broken on the ground. Nagal walks over to Amamori and keeps it real. "If you are still breathing, go take care of yourself. He would have wanted you to live." Our protagonist remains on the ground, beaten and broken. Gritting his teeth in pure pain, Nagal simply turns his back and walks away. He leaves the guy sprawled on the floor. Amamori refuses to stay down despite his aching body. He clutches his chest and starts to stand up. He stumbles through the cafeteria, forcing himself to recover. Across the room, the bald, shirtless, and jacked inmate approaches Nagal to settle the score. Nagal stares him down with a psychopathic look. He tells him straight, "Move." The bald guy freezes, caught off guard. He goes ballistic, veins popping on his forehead. He screams back in disbelief. Wait a second. Seeing things going south, one of his buddies grabs him to cool things down. "Easy, man." Nagal just gives a slight smirk. He kills the mood. "Forget it. You do not want to embarrass yourself, do you?" The bald guy is shaking with rage. He screams, "You think I cannot beat the hell out of you?" Amamori realizes this is bad news. He wonders if the rookie stands a chance against Kojo. Nagal simply turns his back and keeps it real. "Do not get in my way." Kojo cannot handle the humiliation. He lunges forward with everything he has. He screams that he will make him regret it. The fight breaks out. The crowd is already placing bets. It is like a show. Kojo has pure hate in his eyes. He is ready to deliver a heavy blow. As he charges, people mention the boss got stronger from training non-stop. The guy gets annoyed by the dodging and yells, "Stop running and fight like a man." The punch comes with full force. Nagal manages to block it at the last second. The crowd goes wild. Everyone is saying if the boss fights for real, it is an instant knockout. The rookie Amamori watches with a bleeding mouth. He cannot believe what he is seeing. Is he really that strong? Kojo is fed up. He screams that he has had enough. Nagal gets up calmly, finding the whole thing a drag. To show he does not care, he simply dodges, bumping into a table. That is the final straw. Kojo loses it completely. He decides this is the moment. He flies in with a massive punch. He thinks if he crushes the rookie, he will finally be number one. Kojo waits no longer. He flies at Nagal. He delivers a massive punch to end the clown show. Meanwhile, the guy is tossed onto a table. It shatters into pieces. He looks up like, what was that? Seeing the guy felt nothing, Kojo gets even angrier and screams, "I got you." The second punch comes with full force, aiming to end the fight for good. But at the critical moment, Nagal simply raises his arm. Kojo's punch turns into a direct counterattack to his own face. The impact is so brutal that his nose explodes in blood. He is in total shock. Kojo hits the floor in front of everyone. One of his henchmen runs over, "Boss," but Nagal ignores him. He looks at his tray and says, "I spilled a bit. Well, you will have to serve me." Then he simply turns and walks away. With everyone clearing the path for him, no one dares to stand in his way. Kojo, beaten up and scowling, grumbles to himself, "Damn it." Seeing that, the protagonist Amamori understands everything and thinks, "It is just as I imagined. Here strength is the only justice that exists." Suddenly a guard arrives to restore order and shouts, "What is all this noise? If you are not going to eat, then get out of here." The guard approaches Kojo and asks if he needs a doctor, but the guy, writhing in pain, yells no. The guard just looks at him, confused by the guy's arrogance. The guard orders everyone to clear out. Those who are hurt go to the infirmary. Soon after, the crowd disperses, but Kojo, shirtless and shaking with rage, stands before Nagal while he eats in complete peace. Kojo approaches from behind and threatens, "Just you wait." Suddenly he turns to Amamori and warns, "You will not be so lucky next time either." With his face ruined, he explains, "The boss gets out in a year and he is coming to kill you." The protagonist is completely frozen with fear at the threat. Stay tuned for what happens next. The scene cuts. Now we are at the door of the prison infirmary. Inside, Dr. Kanda looks at the patient with a tired face and sighs. "Again?" Amamori is completely bandaged. Remembering the threat, Kujo panics. "The boss will kill me." The MC is sweating cold in total panic. Suddenly the doctor notices and asks if he is okay. As she treats his wounds, the MC feels that things have gone south. He thinks, "Oh no." Immediately the sound of the doorknob turning confirms the worst. Someone is entering. The door swings open. A giant, intimidating man appears, looming over Amamori. He walks straight into the room. He passes them as if they are nothing. He grabs a small bottle and surveys the room with a cold, calculating gaze. The man stares down at the MC holding the vial, and just lets out a, Amamori stands up, fully bandaged, and shouts desperately, "Please wait." The man does not even flinch. He speaks plainly and dryly, "Leave." Amamori cannot believe his ears. His thoughts reveal his shock. Is he talking to me? The realization hits him. The MC looks absolutely terrified. He is frozen in fear. Out of nowhere, the MC yells, "Please, teach me how to fight." He bows deeply in front of the man, a gesture of pure desperation. Meanwhile, the mysterious man watches with total indifference. As Amamori stays bowed, the man asks coldly, "Why?" Before answering, the MC grabs his sleeve tightly. He was not about to let this slide. The MC realizes that strength is everything here. Just taking a beating is not enough. He needs to get stronger. With that thought, he bows to the man and begs, "Please, teach me how to fight." They are not alone though. Dr. Kanda watches everything through a reflection, keeping an eye on the situation. The man ignores it all. He turns his back and dismisses Amamori. He says it is admirable, but not his business. He adds coldly, "This is not a school. I do not have time to babysit others." The MC holds on to him and begs him to wait. He warns that Kanemoto is strong and cruel. He explains that the guy killed someone and used money to get a slap on the wrist. The man does not care and shuts him down immediately. "You cannot handle him. Training you would be pointless." Amamori freezes when he hears the man's command. "Tend to your wounds and get out of here." To finish, he turns his back and keeps it real. "Do not get in my way if you lack determination." The sky is gray and heavy. We return to the moment that changed our protagonist's life. Alone in a prison hallway, Amamori feels like he has hit rock bottom. "I have nothing. What am I supposed to do?" Suddenly he hears a commotion and turns to see what is happening. What he sees is a nasty fight. A guy tries to take something from another while screaming, "Get lost, that is mine." In the middle of the scuffle, the object falls to the ground. It was a photo. It is about to be trampled. With his blood boiling, something snaps in Amamori's head. He runs toward the chaos. He arrives screaming, "What are you guys doing?" The protagonist steps in front and tries to reason. "Stop it. This is from the massacre. It is for his family." The attacker does not even argue and kicks him hard in the back. "You are in the way." Fallen on the ground, he hears the guys mocking him. "Go tremble in a corner now. You are all alone." Our protagonist is thrown to the floor and held down tightly. He is completely defenseless. The guys look at him with a disgusting grin and keep it real. This guy is already a dead man. Right in front of him, they tear up the photo and warn him. "It is over. There is no one left to protect you." On the floor, all that remains are the pieces of that memory he tried so hard to save. Something flips inside him. The fear vanishes and gives way to pure hatred. He grinds his teeth. Enough. The protagonist cannot take it anymore and bolts out of the cell. He runs aimlessly in the rain while thinking, no more being oppressed and looked down on. With a face full of rage, he screams to himself, "I do not want to die like this." Suddenly, in the middle of the rain, a hand picks up something lying on the ground. Shortly after, Amamori stops in his tracks. A giant man is standing in front of him holding a paper bag in the rain. Amamori finally decides. He wants to live, but on his own terms. With his head held high, facing the muscular man, he does not hesitate. He says he will do anything. To prove his point, he throws himself onto the floor. He begs for just one more chance. The guy notices it immediately. The MC's look had completely changed. Lying on the sandbags, he sets his condition. "Move everything in an hour and I will teach you." In the pouring rain, Masaki gives a slight smirk. He warns that it is time. "Get ready." At the shout to start, Amamori dives for the first bag. He uses all his strength to lift it. Masaki just watches him. Deep down, under a heavy downpour, the MC begins the insane test. Amamori grabs the first sandbag. The thing is heavy, you can see him struggling to lift it. But look at his face. Even at his limit, he has the look of someone who will not give up. He starts remembering the past. I was always carrying my mother's bags. Or running away from Kanemoto. So, I am actually pretty confident about this kind of thing. He shows that this task is a piece of cake for him. In the rain, the MC grabs the first sandbag with all his might. It took me only a minute to get here. I can do this. From afar, someone watches and speaks his mind. He is doing better than I expected. It was a total breeze. He finishes with his arms crossed. I just hope he can take the heat. Other guys do not understand a thing. What the hell is he doing in this rain? Just leave him be. Other prisoners talk in the rain. One of them warns about a guy named Hoje. If you mess with him, you are done for. Changing the subject, one asks if the other got a visitor. The guy replies, clearly frustrated. I have not seen my girl in months. Even when I do, it is only a few minutes to talk. The mood turns heavy for everyone. The scene cuts to the prison bars. A question hangs in the air. What exactly were you planning to do? The camera focuses on the door sign, showing where this whole story is heading. The visitation room. The scene cuts to a guy crushing a soda can on the table. The guy is furious. He screams at his boss. You finally try to get away from him, but the boss, chill on the couch, tells it like it is. Someone from Korea is overstepping. He is the priority. The guy stands up immediately, furious. He screams that this is more important than the brother who lost his nose. The air grows heavy. The boss says nothing. He just stares back with a gaze that glows in the dark. The guy loses his patience with the silence. He yells in the boss's face. He says something. The response comes as a heavy punch to his face. The boss tells him to shut up. The guy flies backward with his face full of rage. The boss screams that he got beaten by a nobody. He asks who he thinks he is. He grabs the guy by his hair. He forces his head down and taunts him. If you have a problem, why not handle it yourself? He yanks the guy's head back hard. The guy can only scream in pain, broken and crying. He finally admits he was wrong. Instead of answering, the boss just snaps his fingers. The atmosphere gets even heavier. Looking down at him, the boss explains, sometimes you have to be patient. If everyone dies, they will get suspicious, right? He sits down calmly and continues, let him live for another day or a year. Then we will make his life a living hell. With a look in red eyes, he finishes the sentence. Our MC Mamori is killing himself carrying some bags. He thinks 15 bags are left, even completely broken. He keeps dragging the weight, focused. Just a little more. A guy is watching the clock. He declares that he will not finish in time. But the guy gives a small smile and admits it. He was actually better than I thought. He watches Mamori struggle and concludes, with just this he will not survive my training. Cold sweat dripping, the protagonist realizes something. Is he disappointed? He keeps walking, accepting the idea. I guess that makes sense. I really have no talent at all. With his legs shaking, paranoia hits hard. Did he never want to teach me anything from the start? With a glazed look, the final doubt hits his head. Will the first not be able to do it? He keeps walking, completely exhausted. He concludes it is best not to even try. In the middle of his suffering, a voice comes from nowhere. It asks, are you giving up? Amamori freezes in a cold sweat. It was Misake watching him the whole time. With a smirk and a psycho look, Misake says, that is probably for the best. He keeps humiliating the main character. You should just wag your tail at me like Tamiya does. The guy finally snaps. Pointing and screaming, he shouts, you loser. You are just like your mother. Out of nowhere, a hand grabs the MC by the collar. He freezes instantly, completely confused. A long-haired guy appears with a mocking grin. He asks, what did I tell you? It is the truth, right? He keeps provoking him. Do you want to end up like Rosho? Amamori, already carrying the heavy bag, retorts, look in the mirror. With sweat all over his face, he decides, I am giving it my all. Even if I die, I do not want any regrets. He starts running with the bag. Misake, watching from afar, lets out a smug chuckle. The MC keeps running at full speed. His eyes shine as he thinks, not bad. Every step is a heavy thud, showing the power he has unleashed. He reaches the pile and tosses the bag down. He does not even stop to breathe. Drenched in sweat and at his limit, he locks it in his mind. Less than 10 left. I am going to the end. Seeing this, the guy who provoked him realizes it went wrong. My words cannot reach him anymore. I have to stop him. With his body at its limit, Amamori runs. He thinks, just a little more. He nears his goal as his shadow covers the last 3 bags. Sweating buckets, he motivates himself. It is almost over. I can do this. Suddenly, right at the climax, someone shows up and lands a massive punch to his gut. The main character does not even understand what happened. He goes flying and spits everything out from the impact. Lying on the ground, the MC looks up in confusion and asks, why? The buff guy looks down at our hero and explains, you have reached your limit. I had to stop you by force, my bad. Amamori, completely wrecked, refuses to quit. He mumbles, I cannot, it is not over yet. Amamori insists he must finish. The man grabs him by the shoulders. He says you have done more than enough. Amamori gets it. He looks up and asks if he will teach him. The man replies with a smirk. The new master makes a promise. I will make you the strongest person alive. The protagonist freezes. He is in total panic. The next moment he is already on the floor. He could not even breathe. Amamori's vision starts to blur. Suddenly everything fades into darkness. He thinks he cannot see anything at all. A light reveals a person. The figure calls to him. He asks, "Who are you?" Inside his mind, a man with a wild look charges forward, screaming, "I am going to kill you." Amamori wakes up, clutching his bedsheets. Seeing the scene, Dr. Kanda rushes to fix the drip. She says this is bad. She tries to calm the protagonist. Then she turns around and complains, "Letting it get this bad? You have to be kidding me." At the door, a mysterious man replies, "I am completely serious." Before leaving, Dr. Kanda shoots him a dirty look. The mysterious man says he will wait outside. The protagonist has only 10 minutes. The door's shut. Amamori manages to say thanks. Alone with the man, our protagonist sits on the bed, frozen. He tries to speak but stays silent. The man cuts him off and gives it to him straight. To keep things under wraps, he should come to the infirmary pretending to get treatment. Dr. Kanda cleared the storage room for them. The man tells Amamori the truth. This special training is a total secret until it is over. The protagonist is still in bed. He thanks him and promises to do his best. The man cuts him off and tells him to listen. A reality check follows. The mentor says that was just a test. In reality, his condition is pathetic. On his way out, he warns that this is not easy to solve alone. Dr. Kanda is waiting at the door. The scene cuts to the doctor cleaning a wound on the man's arm. What could have happened to him? Alone in the room, the protagonist looks at his arm. He thinks, even with all his effort, everything is pathetic. Dr. Kanda arrives to bandage his arm. She instantly notices something is wrong. He takes the chance to ask what kind of person Kojo is. She looks confused and asks what he means. She describes the guy as a total mystery. A lone wolf who never shows his true self. She insists he is not a bad person and is there for his family. You will have to ask him about the rest. While cutting the last bandage, Dr. Kanda begins to speak. She finishes the dressing and keeps it real with Amamori. Some things in this world are better left alone. She cuts the conversation short and warns him that Kojo is waiting in the back warehouse. With a strange smirk, she wishes him good luck. The place our protagonist is heading to is a building with loud music thumping inside. With some spare time, our protagonist finally heads to the warehouse to meet his new master. He arrives to find the door ajar with light spilling through the gap. He peeks inside and his jaw drops at what he sees. It is a giant warehouse packed with shelves and boxes reaching the ceiling. Amamori steps inside carefully and notes that it is very dark. Kojo explains that training without sight will sharpen his senses. This will help him one day. The training starts with a lightning-fast punch straight to his face. Beforehand, Kojo had given 2 warnings. The first was to keep his mouth shut about the training. With a psycho look, he adds that showing off what he learns to others is strictly forbidden. Amamori, eyes shining with determination, yells back that he understands. The protagonist tries to ask why. The master cuts him off and tells him to obey without a word. Kojo gives his first order. He wants to see what Amamori can do in 1 minute. The guy accepts immediately. The test begins intensely. He dives to the ground and gets up with absurd speed. With no time to think, the effort is so great his face is completely strained, sweating and gritting his teeth to endure the strain. Without a second to breathe, he launches into a series of crunches. He pushes himself to the limit to keep going. The MC is giving it his all. He is putting in an absurd effort just to train. Yet the result is terrible. Kojo watches and thinks. The guy only managed 2 pull-ups. Seeing that, Kojo starts mocking him. This training routine is not going to work. I have to rethink everything. As Amamori trembles while hanging, Kojo kills the mood and says, "That is enough." Immediately there is the sound of his body hitting the floor hard. While Amamori is wiped out, Kojo keeps it real. What a disappointment. We will start with the basics, and his basics are brutal. In 3 days I want 40 jumps, 20 crunches and 4 pull-ups. Amamori is in disbelief and confused. Wait, I thought you were going to teach me how to fight. Kojo stares back and the mood shifts instantly. How to fight, he repeats. Without letting him breathe, a punch flies straight at our MC's face. Kojo glares at the protagonist and delivers the truth. With that body, you cannot dodge or counterattack. He simply turns his back and warns that they will continue. Amamori screams in desperation for him to wait. Suddenly the guy is exhausted, sweating buckets and pleads. Can you let me rest for just 5 minutes? Kojo scolds him first but then admits. It is true I did not explain enough. He explains that since Amamori is so weak, this basic training is his only option. Kojo gives a practical example. The leader of your cell does not look strong, but to beat him you need to do at least 70 push-ups. The protagonist is in shock. In 1 minute, the master confirms, explaining that their district is a meritocracy. With arms crossed and a psychopathic look, he lays it out. You do not survive unless you are strong. The conversation gets even darker when he warns. Do not underestimate Kanemoto. He is cruel, atrocious, and keeps his word. Amamori is sweating cold while hearing the final verdict. If you cannot fight with your own strength, you have no future. Kojo's voice echoes. A giant shadow looms over Amamori. It warns him that he will taste hell on earth. The scene cuts to Kojo. He smirks and continues the conversation. Even so, he stares down Amamori. Amamori is sweating and clenching his jaw. Kojo drops the final question. Can you still say you want to rest after all that pressure? The protagonist finally makes up his mind. He screams with all his might. I will do it. He looks Kojo in the eye and makes his motive clear. I want to live. The guy bows deeply, truly begging. Please teach me. Kojo smirks immediately. You have guts, but do not be all talk. Do not annoy me. Seeing Amamori sweating bullets, he adds something. Since you have decided, you better prove it to yourself. With the image of Tamiya in his head, the protagonist understands what he wants to protect. He has to protect it with everything he has. Masaki stares down at him with a heavy gaze and tells it like it is. Do you understand? Amamori bellows a yes with all his strength. Right then the special training finally begins. Dr. Kanda is already watching the training from behind. She corrects his posture. Lower your hips. She smirks and thinks aloud about Masaki. You are never honest. That is why you are always alone. The protagonist is on the ground, wiped out. Sweating profusely and barely able to breathe, he stays there. He writhes in pain and exhaustion after the insane workout. Once seated, he picks up some clothes. He thinks it is strange. Are these too big? Masaki just tells him to put them on and get back to it. Masaki explains that it is so nobody notices the changes in his body. After all, everyone is watching our protagonist now. The warning is serious. If they find out about the training, they will come after you with everything. You cannot handle the heat yet. Do you understand? Still recovering, the protagonist hears Masaki lay down the law. I will explain how the prison works. Masaki warns him that this is vital for survival. Amamori asks right away. Is every boss a brute? With arms crossed, Masaki shuts him down immediately. No, he is the only one obsessed with brute force. The protagonist is confused. With a drop of sweat sliding down, he asks, so, how did the others become bosses? Masaki smirks and drops the bomb. Did you really think you could take over here just by fighting? Masaki explains that the trick is to gain a lot while risking little. This is essential. That is how the guys became big bosses. To keep things quiet, meetings happen in the drawing room. They pretend it is just an exchange of ideas. Each boss fights differently. They keep a trusted general by their side. It is just a safety measure in case things turn violent. The scene cuts to today, the day of the meeting. The atmosphere is already heavy. One of the guys taps his fingers on the table. It is clear that patience is running thin. In the boss meeting, a guy with pink hair and a cocky attitude speaks up. Let us talk like we always do. He turns to Kanemoto and takes a jab at him. You cannot stay quiet after what happened in your district, can you? Kanemoto stands up, absolutely furious. He screams that it is none of his business. The pink-haired guy gives a psycho smirk and drops a provocation. If you cannot control him, maybe you should castrate him. He thinks out loud in front of everyone. But then again, what if he can no longer fight? Laughing right in his face, he mocks him. Will you be all alone, Kanemoto? How pathetic. Kanemoto loses it and slams the table. He screams at him to say it again. Another guy tries to calm the tension. The mediator, Shusuke Kazami, explains the situation. Tamiya's case is under investigation. That is why Kanemoto is on edge. Tetsu immediately takes the cue and stirs the pot. Tamiya was protecting Amamori, right? And you want to kill him. He continues to question if Nagai acted alone. Basically, he is calling Kanemoto the mastermind. With a bizarre smile, Tetsu taunts that he is a bit slow, just like his owner. Kanemoto cannot handle the insult. He grabs the guy by the collar with force. With his face twisted in hate, he asks, are you really that eager to see blood? Tetsu, with a psycho gaze, lifts a bottle and issues a challenge. Or do you want to throw hands? Without thinking twice, he smashes the bottle into Kanemoto's face. He screams that he does not stand a chance. He proceeds to beat the other guy down. The extra warns with concern. We are screwed if the director finds out. Suddenly a voice cuts through the tension. Someone yells to stop. The attacker freezes instantly. Who gave the order? A new guy. He lights a cigarette and sighs with disgust. Pathetic. The man is none other than Koit Naruse. He is the boss of the East District. He calls everyone there just a bunch of brats. He walks over and places a hand on the victim's shoulder. He is showing everyone who is in charge. Naruse grabs them by the neck. The attack stops immediately. One of the guys sighs in relief. Phew, you saved us. Only Naruse could stop those two. Another boss with a scarred face loses his patience. Enough with this clown show. Let's start the meeting. Kuroha is on the floor. He is consumed by hatred. His eyes say he will get his revenge. Naruse grabs him and gives an order. Keep an eye on Nagai and Amamori. I want no more messes. Naruse gives the final order to Kureha. Whatever you do, do not kill Amamori. Got it. Kazami tries to calm things down. I know you are pissed about your brother, but Naruse is right. It is best to avoid trouble. Kureha can only stay silent. He clenches his fist on the table. He is full of rage. Seeing the reaction, Naruse leans in. He gives them a straight talk. You guys better be careful. If you drag my district into this, there will be hell to pay. Kureha raises his head with a smirk. That is fine by me, as long as Kanemoto takes care of his pet. The West boss Chusuke Kazami stays quiet at the table. His face says it all. Seeing this, Kureha mocks him. If you are silent, it means you agree, right? With a victorious grin, he slams his hand down. All right, the conversation is over. As the crowd clears out, Kazami remains seated. He holds a glass with a look of pure hatred. The rage is so intense that he crushes the glass in his own hand. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a guy is foaming with rage. The tension is so high that his body is shaking. We see the damage. He shattered the glass in his hand. His subordinate approaches him. Boss. The Northern District General warns that the other bosses aren't convinced. He asks about Amamori. The boss gives a sinister smirk and mocks them. They said not to kill Amamori. The Northern boss thinks it is ridiculous. He warns that no one can stop him. He gives the order. Do whatever you want with Amamori. Just do not kill him. He wants to see blood. Ija and his General Cheetah thump their chests. They smile and say, leave it to me. The boss is so angry he crushes a glass in his hand. He bleeds. He whispers the name Amamori with a psychopathic look. He says things are about to get much more interesting. The Northern District prepares for war. The chapter ends. Things are about to get real. The protagonist Amamori reflects. He realizes there are many types of bosses around here. The guy next to him explains. Tenemoto is violent. Kore is cruel. Kazami is always measuring everyone's reactions. Amamori keeps to himself. He waits to hear about the last guy. His name is Naruse. The colleague reveals that Naruse hates conflict. That is the policy of the entire Eastern Bloc. Naruse protects you. But if you act alone, he will punish you himself, and it will be ugly. The protagonist cannot believe it. He does not understand. Does he really have that much power? Does no one go against him? An ally explains that Naruse is the strongest of them all. Since nobody knows where he came from, everyone is afraid. The guy cuts the conversation short. I told you what you needed to know. Let's train. Training starts hard. The first order is clear. 20 push-ups. Amamori obeys. Yes, sir. Meanwhile, a doctor hears the training screams. She smiles and thinks to herself, when was the last time he was this excited? Dr. Kanda starts writing a report. One name is on her mind. Amamori. In another corner of the prison, the mood turns heavy. A group of inmates blocks the path. They warn that the area is restricted. Inside, a big guy gets scolded. He complains that he was played by a guy named Kureta. The boss does not want excuses. He attacks the guy. He punches him mercilessly while screaming. Hey, how are you going to fix this? The guy is a mess and screams in panic. He says he will bring Amamori here right now to get a beating. The boss is still furious. He keeps yelling at the guy on the floor. Do you want to embarrass me even more, you trash? Someone tries to hold him back and asks him to calm down. They say getting angry will not help. A new guy with two-toned hair appears and tells it like it is. Let it go. You have beaten him enough. He stands up and speaks his mind. Get a grip. We have work to do. Did you forget? The subordinate on the floor can only apologize to the boss. The boss is still livid. He looks down and delivers his message. You know what happens if you mess up again, right? Get out of here. The broken guy stands up and stumbles away. The boss stands there looking pathetic. He blames Amamori, but the other guy already has a plan. I will not kill him, but he will pay. I will have everyone show him some love. He adds with a sick grin. We will make sure he gets the full experience. The scene cuts to Amamori training hard while the threat ends. We welcome him. The scene shifts back to the prison. It shows the building from the outside. Inside, our protagonist Amamori is working hard. He is cleaning the shower area. He stops, feeling sore, and thinks, my muscles still hurt. Will the first be able to train today? Suddenly a shower turns on by itself. He looks up, confused. Why is the water running? He heads straight for the valve, thinking, I am sure I closed the main shut-off. While cleaning the showers, the protagonist freezes. He feels something is very wrong. He can barely process what is happening. A hand grabs him from behind. It is ruthless. The guy grabs his hair and slams Amamori's head down. Held captive, the protagonist asks what they want. The guys warn him. The boss sent us to show you some love. That love involves shoving his face into a bucket full of disgusting cockroaches. Mocking him for being tired, the guy shoves Amamori's head into the water and makes fun of him. You should stay hydrated. Out of nowhere, the scene cuts to the laundry room. Other inmates are calmly doing their laundry. A strong man with glasses walks in. He claims that space is for his batch of clothes. The group ignores him. He notices their silence. Without hesitation, he grabs their clothes from the cart. He heads straight for the washing machine. Meanwhile, the protagonist is in the laundry area. Two guys surround him in front of the machine. The tension spikes instantly. The thugs attack. They smash his face against the glass door. He screams and they start shoving the protagonist inside. The blonde guy tells them to hurry before the cycle locks. They slam the door shut with Mamori inside. With a smirk, one of them says it is time for the wash. Trapped in the machine, the protagonist curls up in terror. The machine is about to start. Mamori panics and begs to be let out as the guys laugh. Other inmates watch the scene. One inmate looks tense. The other reminds him that the boss forbade killing, so it is fair game. A bystander watches from afar with pity for the poor guy. Word spreads fast. In the cafeteria, someone whispers that they could not take that kind of abuse. The speaker is a giant with glasses just like Mamori, but muscular. Meanwhile, the protagonist gets his lunch. A maniac bumps into him on purpose and spills hot soup. The protagonist hits the floor in pain. His face is burning. The attacker and his partner approach. With a cynical grin, they ask if he is okay. The other thug kicks him in the head. He tells him to watch where he is going. With his foot on the victim's back, the attacker grabs his hair. He claims the boss wants him to eat to get strong. A guard arrives to restore order. He threatens to send everyone to solitary. He yells at everyone to clear out. The guard keeps scolding them. Fed up, he tells the aggressor to go to the infirmary if he wants trouble. The scene cuts away. We only see a bloody rag thrown onto a tray. Someone is in big trouble. Someone is while tending to the MC's forehead. This has gone too far. His body won't take much more. Dr. Konda tends to the battered MC and asks point blank, "What is going on? Don't you have a plan or something?" Massacre stands in the corner and answers for him. "This is inevitable. I am not his babysitter. Besides, not everything is bad." Meanwhile, our guy is completely lost. He breaks into a cold sweat and asks what he means. Massacre smirks and drops the truth. "Some things you only learn by getting hit. Knowing pain is the secret to getting strong." He continues, "These guys today had a pattern. You have to spot the pattern to win. Watch them while you take the hits. Don't waste the chance." The MC is still broken and vents to Masaki. "But how? I cannot think clearly in there." Masaki grabs his shirt without a second thought and keeps it real. "I can teach you." He puts a hand on the guy's shoulder and gets straight to the point. "Are you going to be a loser for the rest of your life?" Masaki looks like a psycho and finishes. "Or are you going to use this humiliation to make everyone tremble in fear?" Training begins and Amamori is tense. He is sweating cold. Masaki flies at him without any warning. The punch lands square on Amamori's face. He has no time to react. He takes the hits and hears the scolding. "Do not close your eyes. That is fatal." The MC answers. "Yes, sir." Masaki lays down the truth. "Watch closely. He always has a tell before attacking." Masaki shouts the order as the punch comes for Amamori's face. "Identify." The MC tries to process everything with wide eyes. Analyze. Memorize. He finally succeeds at the very last second. Masaki adds, "You can dodge." Masaki grabs him and keeps it real. "It took you an hour to dodge one punch. You have no chance in a real fight." He explains why all this matters. "That is why getting hit makes sense. Do not forget what I taught you." Masaki stares at the MC and gives it to him straight. "Do not waste your chance." Amamori is still recovering. He just nods while putting on his jacket. Masaki warns he has some business to handle. He tells Amamori he can leave after finishing his exercises. Before leaving, he looks back with a little smirk. He says, "Oh, and you did well. You are not a loser anymore." Amamori is shocked and frozen. The compliment caught him by surprise. At the door, Masaki starts counting as if giving a final order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Meanwhile, Masaki asks Dr. Okanda to prepare some coagulant and eye drops. She freezes and asks, "Do not go too hard on him." The guy does not even look back and drops the truth. Taking it easy on him will not help at all. The doctor insists the method is risky. Masaki retorts, "That is exactly why he has to learn to fend for himself, and fast." He goes to the locker and warns that if the protagonist gets caught, it is game over. She then asks, "Are you not afraid he might break?" Masaki just gives that side smirk and answers with pure confidence, "He is not that fragile." A brawl is breaking out in the cafeteria. The guards do not even care. One of the guys approaches with a smirk and suggests a bet on Amamori. The gang leader cuts him off. He turns to everyone and asks, "Did you forget?" It turns out a sinister guy, the collector, is getting out of solitary today. The nickname is not for show. The guy collects ears, fingers, and teeth. Creepy. That prisoner is a total psychopath. He is just dying to go out and smash everything. It is right now, during free time in prison, that chaos will start. His method is simple. He takes body parts from his victims to keep in glass jars. It is because of this bizarre collection of eyes and ears that he calls himself the collector. This madman, who is like an animal, goes straight to introduce himself to Amamori. Things are about to heat up. The collector arrives with a twisted smile and gets straight to the point. "I want your left eye. Will you give it to me?" Our protagonist freezes instantly, thinking, obviously, this guy is a born psychopath. Out of nowhere, seeing that Amamori did not answer, the madman continues with that sinister smile. "Since you won't answer, I'll take that as a yes." The creature lunges at our protagonist with everything it has. The crowd is already placing bets. A guy announces, "Oyama versus Amamori. 10-1 odds." The psycho arrives with nails like claws. They scrape right across Amamori's chest. The protagonist feels the impact. He is completely confused. Like, what was that? Oyama, with a psycho smile, keeps it real. "You have such a fresh taste." The guy prepares for another strike. With a sick look, he warns, "In that case." He charges at Amamori yelling, "Watch closely." In the middle of the sand, the protagonist manages to block the strike. He starts to process it. The maniac comes flying in with a bizarre smile. Amamori is focused. He thinks, "Find the habit." The blow lands square. Blood flies everywhere. The psycho keeps grinning while he strikes. Even though he is beat up, Amamori is almost there. He thinks, "Just a little more. I'm starting to see it." The two back off and stare each other down. Oyama gets pissed while the crowd watches the fight from afar. The psycho comes flying at Amamori again. He screams, "Your luck has run out." The protagonist is locked in. He realizes the guy has an attack pattern he keeps repeating. With a plan in mind, Amamori charges. He thinks, since everyone here loves a bet, he rips his glasses off with force. He decides, "I am going to make my own bet." In front of everyone, his glasses shatter on the floor. Things just got serious. The protagonist finally strikes back. He lands a clean, heavy punch. The guy flies away spitting blood. He hits the ground hard. Amamori stays on him without giving him time to breathe. Beat to a pulp, the guy tries to curse. He only manages to mutter, "You piece of." But it is already over. Amamori mounts him and starts raining down blows directly on his face. The spectators are in shock. They cannot believe what they are seeing. It cannot be. Oyama is on the ground completely wrecked. The crowd cannot believe it. He lost. He is covered in blood. He looks shocked. I must be seeing things. He has to be drugged. Even the guy behind the bars can't accept it. It is impossible. How could he lose to a loser like that? The torn paper confirms Amamori's victory. Someone screams desperately for their money. The protagonist looks so happy. He even lets out a small smirk. Someone walks up and pats his head. They tell him not to get ahead of himself. The doctor kills the mood. Staring at him seriously, she says, "It would not be strange if you had died." Amamor, all bandaged up, admits the truth. "I cannot believe I won. To me just surviving was enough." He shows his broken glasses and laments, "But the glasses my mother gave me broke." The door opens. A new guy arrives asking if the treatment is over. The bandaged fighter recognizes him immediately. It is Kojo. Then, the fighter takes a firm step forward toward his boss. He bows deeply and says thank you. Kojo ruins the moment. "You only defeated the biggest weakling here." The guy takes it in stride. Kojo warns him that he only won because his opponent could not fight. Things are about to get ugly. Out of nowhere, Kojo holds out a small box. The guy is shocked. Not understanding what it is, he takes the gift. Kojo speaks. "I am giving this to you. It is a gift for your first victory." He turns his back and keeps it real. "Tomorrow's training will be even more brutal. To earn respect here, you must become a vicious dog." Inside, the doctor does not like the talk at all. She says, irritated, "You could at least praise him at a time like this." Amamor opens the box. He cannot believe it. They are contact lenses. The doctor explains. "He said they would be useful to you." The doctor remembers something else and warns him. "Oh, that is right. I have one more thing to give you." She hands him a meal box. She simply says, "Try opening it." While the protagonist opens it, she explains, "Kojo picked this up on the way and almost arrived late." The moment he sees the contents, he freezes with wide eyes. He can only think, "This is." The doctor confirms it right away. "It is the spicy rice balls your mother made." To top it off, she smirks and says his mom looks okay, all wrapped in bandages. Amamori grips the lunchbox. With a choked voice, he barely manages to say, "Mom." Suddenly, a memory hits him hard. A younger version of himself, wearing glasses, watches his mom cook. He is so excited. She smiles and says it is almost ready. Little Amamori shouts that he loves her dumplings. Back to the present, the focus is on the meal. Tears from our protagonist start dripping onto the food. He takes the first bite. Sobbing, he blurts out that it is delicious. It is so good. While eating, Amamori asks how she knew. Dr. Kanda tells him not to see her as just a doctor. Then, she drops the bomb. Kojo called before the fight. He told her to buy the food because he believed in him. At this news, the protagonist breaks down in tears. The doctor adds that Kojo has high expectations for him. Seeing the young man in that state, Dr. Kanda grabs a tissue from the table. She hands it over and tells him to eat it all. She says this is a celebration and tells him to get some rest. As the protagonist eats, the doctor warns him that he needs to get stronger. Tomorrow is going to be even tougher. Speaking of tough, the scene cuts to the guy who lost to Amamori. He is in deep trouble. His boss is stepping on his head, absolutely furious. He says, "You trash, you could not even beat a loser like that." Suddenly the guy on the floor, covered in blood, starts laughing. He mutters, "This is good." With a psycho smile he reveals, "Amamori is the best. I want to know more about him." The bald guy gets annoyed by the smirk on the guy on the floor. He snaps, "What are you laughing at?" In the middle of the mess, another man appears. Calmly, he lights a cigarette. It is the boss, Ishida. He looks at the bald guy and remarks, "Amamori is full of surprises." Ignoring the other guy, Ishida orders a subordinate, "Keep watching Amamori, I want to find out." As the guy who got beaten lies on the floor, he finishes his thought, whether it was just a coincidence or not. Meanwhile, Ishida gets pissed and clenches his fist. You wonder if the protagonist stopped being a nobody. The scene cuts to a dark place with only one lamp lit. There's Amamori listening to his new coach lay it all out. The training now is to learn to fight and take hits. The protagonist doesn't even think twice and gets into a fighting stance. Totally focused, he charges in with everything. The protagonist's training is intense. He starts with dodging. Check out the quick movement. He comes back hard, with the face of someone about to rip the other's soul out with a punch. The blow lands squarely in the gut. Damn, that connected beautifully. But the master doesn't even flinch. He still gives the advice. Brace your gut to protect your organs. Right away, the lesson doesn't stop. The guy grabs him by the neck and warns him. The next target is the neck. Breathing is vital, right? He grabs the protagonist and tells him straight, "Don't move. See how long you can last without breathing." Desperation sets in and the air is running out. He counts 2, 3. As he squeezes, the master explains, "When you can't breathe, time feels slow and your senses fail. The moment you start breathing again, your body locks up. That's the biggest opening there is." Then he flips the script and asks Amamori, who's frozen, "What if you're the one being attacked?" Masaki starts explaining things to our protagonist. He lays it out. "Control your heart rate. If you do that, your breathing is under your control. The guy stares at him with a psycho look and continues. If you want to be the strongest, you have to be able to control your body with just your mind. He clenches his fist to show he's serious. Understand how the body works. That way you can land a real blow. Amamori is frozen, listening to the anatomy lesson. This is the third rib. Below it, the fourth. Get the diagram from Dr. Kanda and memorize it. Meanwhile, the memory of that punch hits hard. The protagonist understands. I have to memorize this, otherwise I'm just swinging like a madman. Masaki continues the lesson. He explains that during an attack you should immobilize the guy and drive your knee into a vital point to cause more damage. Theory is over. The master stands up and delivers a kick, correcting him. The MC ignores his feet. He delivers another powerful kick. He encourages Amamori, who is pushing hard. Nice, once more. The training rhythm intensifies. Masaki screams for more. Faster. Use both feet. Right, kid. Then, with a battle cry, a silhouette unleashes a kick in the air that seems like it will break everything. After class, Masaki stares at the MC with a heavy gaze. The mood shifts instantly. With arms crossed, he offers praise. That was magnificent. Amamori thanks him while starting to wrap his hand. Masaki gets straight to the point. Now you fight alone. He tightens the bandage and sets the target. The room leader. The order is clear. Take him down. With hands ready, he gives the final advice. Become the mad dog everyone fears. Suddenly, a loudspeaker announces that free time is over. Everyone must return to their rooms. The prisoners start walking back. They follow the flow through the dark hallway. Masaki gives one last heads up to Amamori. The place, the time, and the way the fight happens are up to him. Alone, the MC thinks about what to do. Should he strike alone or in front of everyone? Before he can decide, a voice calls his name. Trouble came to him. One guy enters the cell and confronts the other. Back early, huh? The bed owner arrives and gets furious. What are you doing there? The jerk just replies, relax, I just borrowed it. That response triggers everything. The guy gets livid. He screams, you little. He grabs the bedsheet to see what he was doing. With his face twisted in rage, he cannot believe it. His clean bed is now covered in filth and piss. The guy is so enraged that the veins in his face bulge. Are you insane? A brawl is about to start. In the corner, someone smirks. The guy with long hair cannot hold it and bursts into laughter. He says the rookie's reaction is the best. Then the boss Nagal reveals himself. He says he only used the paper to wipe his hands, that the guy is making a scene for nothing. While washing his hands, Nagal keeps it real. With a cynical air, he says we are all men here and should help each other. With a sinister smirk, he grabs the guy and says it is a small price to pay for protection. He claims he is a nice guy, unlike the captain. He loves blackberries and cannot handle his own rage. He delivers a violent elbow to the guy's face. After the violence, our MC returns to normal. The bastard is in disbelief at the speed of this crazy rookie. The guy is now bleeding from his nose and is furious. He yells, what the hell are you doing? And lunges with a massive punch. He dodges easily with a bizarre smirk. Bleeding, Nagal admits you are tougher than you look. With a look that says he will destroy everything, he warns he is going all out now. Said and done. He plants his feet firmly to prepare for a real attack. Nagal does not wait and returns a heavy punch immediately. The guy in blue manages to block it just in time. The impact was brutal. The guy feels his hand trembling and wonders what kind of strength that is. My hand went numb. Seeing his opponent shaken, Nagal approaches with a psychopathic stare. He asks, how do you think I became the boss here, huh? Without giving him time to answer, he advances with a sick smile and yells that he hates brown-nosers more than anything. If I were a nobody, he continues the attack while shouting in the guy's face, I would have turned to dust like you and Tamiya long ago. Nagal charges ahead with a punch and screams, die, but the prisoner in blue blocks the blow instantly and tells him to shut up. It was not just a block. He grabs Nagal's wrist with absurd strength. As he squeezes, he yells at him not to dare insult the massacre. With a scream of pure pain, Nagal's arm simply shatters completely. Nagal, covered in filth and gritting his teeth in hatred, yells that he will kill him, but there is no time. The madman blocks his counterattack with his arm. Everyone is in disbelief watching the scene. Without a second to breathe, he advances and lands a monstrous elbow to the guy's back. Nagal's hand slams into the wall, trying to steady himself after the beating he took. To finish it off, the guy in blue lands one last kick. Nagal goes flying. The fight is finally over. In a flashback, Dr. Kanda explains the weak spot. A kick to the knee causes insane pain. Back in the present, Amamori puts the lesson to use. He aims right there. The blow lands perfectly. Nagal's knee just snaps sideways. The guy collapses instantly with a bloody nose. Nagal tries to grab his leg. The pain is too much. Without wasting time, Amamori mounts him. He is ready to finish the job. The protagonist shows no mercy. He unleashes a barrage of punches, grinding Nagal into the ground. His mind is clear. Immobilize, strike vital points, break the enemy's will to fight. Done and done. Amamori lands a precise hit. The brute screams in agony and spits blood. Watching from inside, Nagal's henchmen are in shock. One of them screams for help. If the boss goes down, everyone is doomed. It happens. The long-haired guy charges at Amamori to save his leader. The protagonist doesn't stop. He delivers another heavy blow. The henchman doubles over in pain. He admits that really hurts. Seeing this, one thug pulls a knife. He attacks Amamori from behind. Amamori turns with a death stare. He gets real. Want a piece of this too? The guy shakes in his boots. He stammers. No, I was just passing by. It is over for him. But Nagal, lying on the ground, pulls a weapon hidden on his leg. With eyes full of hate, he glares at the protagonist. Idiot. He lunges forward, screaming. Did nobody teach you not to lower your guard? The attack hits home. Amamori freezes in pain. His teeth are clenched. The blade went deep. Blood begins to stain our hero's clothes. This is bad. Suddenly Nagal pulls a gun and charges at Amamori, screaming for him to die. The boy manages to stop the blow with just one hand. With eyes burning red with hatred, he warns him. You are the one who is going to die today. In that moment, he grabs Nagal's wrist with insane strength. Amamori blocks the guy's attack in mid-air. Without missing a beat, he lands a massive punch. Nagao's weapon, a toothbrush, finally hits the floor. The fight is over. The results are clear. Nagao is on the ground, beaten to a pulp. Amamori stands tall, victorious. His expression is sinister. He keeps his weapon held tight, staring down his fallen opponent. Then, the adrenaline fades. He feels the sharp sting of the stab wound. The spectators panic. One of them tells it like it is. You lost from this moment on. Amamori, eyes full of hate, grabs the battered man by his hair. He says, I am the leader of the room now. Night falls over the grim prison hallway. The atmosphere is heavy. A guard walks his rounds and shouts out to everyone. Hey, lights out in 10 minutes. Inside, Amamori stands amidst the other inmates. His fist is clenched, still buzzing from the fight. He squeezes his hand tight. His shoulder bleeds as he stares at his own palm. He thinks, did I really win? I can't believe it. With his chest wounded from the struggle, Amamori asserts his dominance. Get out of my way. One inmate thinks he is overstepping, but another warns him. Like it or not, those are the rules. Suddenly, the long-haired guy locks eyes with Amamori and cuts to the chase. He does not let the new title go to his head. The reality hits Amamori instantly. He asks in a panic, what happens to the leader who lost? The guy won't even look at him as he drops the bomb. Don't tell me you're worried. Losers have a terrible fate in this place. The long-haired guy continues, you won. There is no need to hide your strength anymore. Regardless, everyone is going to want a piece of you now. Amamori freezes, processing the heavy weight of that info. It finally sinks in. Suddenly a guard's voice cuts through the tension of the cell. Lights out, go to sleep. Lying in his bunk, Amamori worries. I don't know what will happen when the cell boss returns. According to the fugitive, the guy is in for a living hell. He understands the rules here. The only way to move up is through violence. Does that mean the captain is my next opponent? While everyone sleeps, Amamori thinks, I must become stronger after that massacre. Lying in bed, he admits he is not perfect yet. He needs to learn more from that guy, Roju. The night remains silent in the prison hallway. The sound of footsteps breaks the silence. A shadow appears on the floor. It was just a guard on his night rounds. With a flashlight in hand, he checks everything. Meanwhile, an inmate keeps to himself. Quiet in his cell, he holds a mysterious note. Elsewhere in the prison, a new guy is addressed by his title, Captain. He also receives a note. With a smirk, he comments that he lost. The captain's face turns sour. Crushing the paper, he grumbles about that idiot. He crumbles the note and realizes the truth. He is finally showing his claws. The chaos ripples through the entire prison. Cut to the south block. Suddenly, a sinister laugh echoes from one of the cells. The silence of the place is shattered. The guy with long hair is the one laughing. He celebrates. Amamori turned out better than I expected. He throws himself on the floor, roaring with laughter. He adds that he bets Kanemoto is pulling his hair out right now. The gossip spreads fast. The camera takes us to another corner, the west block. Meanwhile, in another part of the prison, a mysterious guy sits isolated, reading a message. He gives a small smirk. He thinks the guy actually won. How cool. The scene cuts to a guard walking alone through the dark corridors of the East District. The guard stops in front of a cell. He taps on the bars to get some attention. He delivers the news to the one inside. Naruse, he defeated the room leader. The tattooed guy, flipping through a book, asks about the damage. Was he hurt? Through the cell window, the guard hands over the report. Amamori is fine, but the room leader was messed up badly. The man thanks him for the update. The guard says goodnight and walks away alone. The tattooed boss understands the situation. He thinks things have become complicated now. Outside, the prison stands tall, guarding all these conflicts and secrets. In the cafeteria, the mood is tense. Everyone whispers and stares at our protagonist from afar. Amamori notices the crowd is acting different. He wonders, is it because the fight was for a position? Suddenly, a tattooed guy with a scar approaches his table. He gets right to it. You are Amamori, right? With a grin, the guy introduces himself. I am Shusuke Kazami, the boss of the West Block. Amamori asks if he should be there. Kazami sits down and says it is fine. After all, he and the local boss are partners. The protagonist stares at the boss and gets straight to the point. So, what do you want? I do not know why you are here. The guy smirks and warns that a guy named Kanemoto will not let it slide. He says he came to lend a hand. Amamori is and asks, what do you mean? With a look, Kazami drops the offer. Become my spy. In exchange, I will protect you. Amamori doubts him, Protect me? The boss boasts. For me that is easy, but our protagonist, without even trembling, looks the guy in the eye and cuts him off. No thanks. Kazami cannot believe it and questions him. Huh? You think you can take on Kanemoto alone? Then Amamori turns the tables and lays out the truth. If he needs people like the protagonist, it is because he has no allies at all. The boss loses it and shouts, what can he do alone? Amamori finishes, I would rather die than accept your help. Before the guy can answer, he snaps. He slams his hand on the table out of rage. With the refusal, Kazami stands up and in the protagonist's face, fine then, do whatever you want. He turns his back and walks away. The crowd starts, shocked by the rookie's guts. The gossip spreads fast. A guy tells his partner to alert someone named Carrera that Amamori stood up to Kazami. At another table is rampant. An inmate complains, why does this guy have so much hype just for beating a minor leader? His partner adds, that chubby crybaby we thought was toast just crushed a room leader. As our protagonist passes by, the rumors fly. How did a rookie like him pull that off? It is. He continues his way down the hallway. Suddenly a voice calls him, Amamori. He turns around and comes face to face with someone. Two figures stand there. They are staring at him in a hostile way. The large man in a suit approaches. He offers a greeting with an intimidating air. A henchman lights his cigarette. The man introduces himself. I am Koisen Naruse, the boss of the East Block. The scene cuts to the outside of the detention center. Soon after we see Amamori alone. He is isolated behind bars. He is lost in his thoughts. He seems to be mulling something over with a serious face. Suddenly he takes a heavy hit. It throws him to the side. Battered, he can only apologize. The attacker calls him by his name. We finally meet Amamori. A new guy with two-toned hair stops in front of Amamori. He asks bluntly, you got a problem? A brute appears behind him defending his partner. What kind of attitude is that? It is Gishida, the general of the North District. Amamori tenses up immediately. He starts connecting the dots. Another general? Is Kanemoto behind this? The two-toned hair guy looks down at him. He drops the truth. The cell leader Amamori beat up was one of his men. With a smirk he taunts him. Do you really want to fight me? I do not think so. The mood becomes heavy. The blonde guy gives the order. Get him. Both go after Amamori. Our protagonist gets into a fighting stance. The guy in the tank top lands. Another blow. He buries his fist into him without mercy. The impact is so strong the image distorts. It was a sharp and violent strike. Instead of falling, Amamori clenches his jaw. He endures the pain with a look of pure hatred. The guy in the tank top punches Amamori in the face. He does not even have a chance to defend himself. The blonde partner advances from behind with a sick smile. He prepares to join the fight. The blonde attempts a strike, but the protagonist throws an elbow. The guy blocks it. Amamori can barely stay on his feet. The guy in the tank top comes at him again with everything. He wants to finish him off. A violent kick hits the back of his knee. It must have shattered everything inside. The protagonist barely recovers and sees that the situation has gotten much worse. The blonde guy sneaks up with a sick grin. He is ready for another round. A punch slams into his back. The impact is brutal. Amamori is sent flying to the ground. Bleeding on the floor, the guy puts his hand on Amamori's head to humiliate him. He asks, hey, how are you feeling? The boss looks stylish and cuts straight to the point. Mocking him, he asks how it feels to be beaten by two of his goons. As they pin him down, the boss continues. The leader you beat was a loser. Trash beating trash is still trash. Crouching before Amamori, the boss gets real with a smirk. I am a nice guy, but I do not forgive those who embarrass me. With a psychopath's gaze, he says Amamori made him a joke. It was obvious he would get payback. The goons hold Amamori by the shoulders. The boss stands up and speaks. He turns his back and gives his goons the green light. He tells them to have fun with our protagonist. Battered, Amamori cannot believe the power gap. He only trained for one-on-one fights. Bloodied, Amamori reflects. How can I fight against so many guys? The path to becoming the strongest is incredibly far away. The scene cuts to a door that looks like a cell. Amamori enters the room with a serious expression. He finds another human with his arms crossed. They seem to be talking. The camera pans out to show the room. A wounded man is bandaging himself on the bed. A guy is curled up on the floor under a sheet. Our boy decides not to bother him because the wounded man has his pride. Suddenly two new guys appear at the door with a grin. They want trouble. They head straight for the wounded man, cornering him in the bathroom. The leader yells, number 53, get up. 51, with his whole gang behind him, says it plainly. I need to take a leak. You know what to do, right? Hold it for me. The wounded man has had enough. He glares at the bully with pure hatred and spits out, you. The leader does not hold back and punches his back, screaming, who do you think you are talking to? With a disgusting smirk, he declares the guy is a total outcast now. This job is only for people like him. To make matters worse, another inmate yells at him for how he is looking. He calls him a weakling, powerless. The guy just closes his eyes and grinds his teeth. He swallows his anger. His hand slams hard against the floor. He tries to brace himself so he does not collapse. The bully laughs and threatens the poor guy. Stay balanced there. If you fall, I will kill you. Suddenly a voice cuts through the tension with pure hatred. Enough. Stop it right now. The newcomer grabs the bully by the shoulder and stops him cold. In front of everyone he stares the bully down and speaks his mind. Stop doing that stuff, do your own chores. The long-haired guy tries to justify it by citing the rules. The MC does not want to hear it and cuts him off. He turns around and drops the truth. I am the leader of this room, so I decide the rules. I will not tolerate humiliation. With a psychopathic look he glares at everyone and issues a challenge. If you have a problem with it, bring it on. The bullies freeze instantly. They are in shock, cold sweating from the threat. The long-haired guy is stunned, thinking to himself with a look of pure dread, what an idiot. The bully ignores the guy on the floor and calls for Amamori, who was watching from afar. The fallen guy goes crazy and shouts, "Who told you to pity me? I would rather die than go through this." He stares at the bully and yells that he lost today, but he will be the one laughing in the end. Nagal gives a smug grin, lifts his foot and taunts him. He said he was fine, right? At that Amamori freezes. His gaze turns sinister and he can only whisper, "You guys." The scene shifts to the infirmary door. Inside, someone is absolutely destroying a punching bag. It is Amamori. He punches with intense rage and screams why. In his mind, an image appears of someone saying they just wanted to end the rotten rules to help everyone. Amamori takes it out on the bag, shouting, "Why can you not understand?" In the middle of his heavy training, Amamori is interrupted. Dr. Kanda appears at the infirmary door. The boy immediately stops what he is doing. He looks at her with a hint of surprise. Dr. Kanda approaches him. She hands him a towel. She gets straight to the point. She asks if something happened with Kojo. Mom begins to explain what occurred while the punching bag still swings nearby. He vents his frustration. He says he does not understand how this could be for everyone's benefit. The doctor explains that for these people doing the right thing feels wrong. They simply refuse to accept it. She touches his shoulder. She tells him the hard truth. To change things he must become the leader. Mom gets the message. As he wraps his hands he decides he will train 1,000 times harder. He laments that Kojo is not there to teach him how to fight multiple opponents at once. But the doctor gives a hint with a smirk. It is easy. You just run and the enemy lets their guard down. Our protagonist remembers the lesson. He narrates his thoughts. Then you strike a vital point. With a psychopathic look he completes the plan in his mind with a single finishing blow. The scene cuts to where Amamori is training with Dr. Kanda. Suddenly Tamiya is in shock and breaking out in a cold sweat. He can barely believe it. He thinks she is fast. At that very instant the doctor grabs him by the shirt. She tells him the truth. "I warned you." With a smirk she drops the bomb. "I am not just a doctor." She puts a hand on his shoulder. She tells him to stop for today, otherwise his evaluation will go down the drain. With a smile Dr. Kanda says goodbye. She wishes good luck to our protagonist, the leader of the room. Reality kicks in. The scene cuts to someone working hard, mopping the floor. The system works like this. People work in groups. Depending on performance everyone earns points. Why does everyone try so hard? Collecting points guarantees a visit from family. It is the ultimate prize, but there is a catch. The one in charge of tasks is the captain, the right-hand man of the boss. As long as it is within the rules the captain's word is absolute law in there. The boss of the North Block is a lunatic with a sinister smile. Ed and Ishida are here. A guard gathers the group and gets real. It is their first job. If one messes up, everyone is screwed and loses points immediately. Tamiya, with her usual serious face, confirms she understands the message. The guard turns and reinforces the warning. No slacking off. Take this seriously. Everyone is lined up for the first day of work in prison. A very industrial atmosphere is in the air. Amamori walks quietly. He thinks that if he keeps this up, he will soon see his mother again. Meanwhile, the others are already whispering about the plan. Ishida is going to make Amamori do that thing. It is so no one gets involved. Suddenly, one of the machines turns on at full power. The noise echoes throughout the place. The plan has begun. The thugs are ready with sinister smiles. One confirms he is prepared. The other replies he is ready whenever. In the middle of work, Amamori arrives with a cart. He asks for a sterilized tray. Right away, one of the guys in a beige uniform steps forward. He takes a tray from the machine with a sly grin. He offers the tray and warns him, "Take it. It is at 200 degrees. Amamori says nothing. He just stares at the tray and grips the cart handle with all his strength. The pressure is so great that the cart wheel cracks and breaks immediately. Our protagonist tries to push the cart but the thing will not budge. He finds it strange right away. "Hey, it is not moving." He turns to the guy who set everything up and asks to swap carts. The dude cuts him off. "There is no other one. Carry it by hand." With no options, Amamori tries to ask another prisoner for help. "Can you carry this tray in your cart for me?" The guy just gives a mocking side smile and refuses. "Sorry man, I am already full here." Seeing the failure, the leader of the troublemakers arrives and provokes him. Scared? What a disappointment. Afraid of a little heat? The realization hits Amamori. With his blood boiling, he sees these guys are doing this on purpose. Without thinking twice, he goes after the guy with the ponytail and grabs his collar. One of the guys from the crew tries to intervene, already desperate. "Hey, what are you doing? We are going to lose points for this." Seeing it would not work, the guy changes the plan. He starts screaming for everyone to hear. "Help! Amamori is attacking." The shout attracts a big fish. He arrives asking what is going on. The other guy takes advantage and makes a threat. Do you think you can do that here? You want a beating? Amamori grabs him by the collar. He panics thinking, where are the guards? Then the area boss shows up all cocky. He warns that the guards are on break. Only us here. Staring at the guy on the ground, the protagonist realizes he fell into a trap. This is Ishida's work. You cannot fight this many people. With the whole gang surrounding him, the ponytail guy taps his arm. He mocks him. You should have done this from the start. To humiliate him further, he smacks the back of his head. Out of nowhere, staying in shock and without mercy, the gang member grabs Amamori's hair. He slams his head down hard. With a sick smile he warns, the cart is broken. You carry it. If you resist, your head goes into the machine. Already on the ground, there is the forced labor for our protagonist, a container that looks incredibly heavy. As Amamori bends down to pick it up, the leader yells, move it, you want to be toasted? Right after his hand shakes. But he grabs the box with all the strength he has to lift it. The protagonist is frozen, sweating cold and trembling all over, trying his absolute best. He is carrying the thing all crooked. The aggressor keeps mocking him. Careful now. Do not drop it, or we will have to wash it again. The warning continues while they reach the cafeteria. With all his remaining strength, he finally drops the heavy box on the table. It makes a huge noise. Amamori hands over the tray and says, I brought it, check it out. The leader just smiles and says, fine, good job. Right then, a friend notices Amamori's hands. They are all messed up. He asks what happened. The guy does not even think twice and talks to the guard. Amamori got burned. I am taking him to the infirmary. The guard, without even looking closely, just waves his hand. Like okay, you can go. With the way clear, the two start walking down the hall, getting away from the mess. But Amamori does not look like he is heading to the infirmary. His gaze is cold. Amamori's friend walks along. He is distracted. Suddenly he stops in the hallway. Something is wrong. He turns and asks Amamori, what is going on? This is not the way to the infirmary. What are you planning? Out of nowhere, a group appears. They surround the friend with fake smiles. He tries to play it cool. What is this? I need medical attention. But they were actually targeting Amamori. One guy grabs him tightly. The leader speaks up. These are orders from Ishida. The protagonist struggles and tells them to let go. Seeing this, one of the thugs gets nervous. He asks, is this going too far? The other shuts him down. What is the problem? Do you have an issue with Ishida's methods? A guy pins the protagonist's friend against the wall. He asks with a smirk, do you want to feel the torture yourself? The warning is clear. Keep your mouth shut if you do not want to get hurt. It is -60 degrees. Meanwhile, two thugs hold Amamori. He struggles and screams for them to let him go. The leader tells him to shut up. The guards never come to such a cold place. He points to a valve. He says it is a gift from Ishida. Enjoy your recovery. He speaks with deep sarcasm. The situation is intense. The human is held by several guys in an isolated corner. They do not waste time. They force his hand onto a steam valve. His face sweats with pain. He thinks, I was a fool. He realizes the hard way that violence is their only language. Power is the only law here. As he is forced down, he sees the reality. He will not survive this if he does not change. His hand is destroyed. The protagonist is at his limit, thinking, I will not survive this. He screams in pain. He remembers his struggle to get here. His look changes completely. Sadness turns into pure hatred. He thinks, you bastards. He clenches his fist tightly. With blood dripping, he decides, you want me to take it? Fine, bring it on. He charges at them with everything. He is serious. No matter how bad it gets, I will fight until I die. The scene cuts away. Blood drips onto the cold floor. Things went very wrong for someone. We see the reason. Amamori is absolutely wrecking them. One guy is already on the floor. Seeing this, the gang leader loses it. He yells that you have crossed the line. I will crush you. Surrounded by the group, Tamiya prepares for the fight. He tells himself to stay calm. He remembers Dr. Konda's teachings. Her advice was simple. If things get ugly, just run away. What great help that was. Amamori's plan is simple. He knows that hunters always drop their guard. The attacker smiles, planning to strike a vital point to end it. Suddenly, the tables turn. Amamori lands a massive kick to the guy's head. It is a finishing blow, but the noise of the brawl draws attention. A tough guard appears in the hallway. He yells from the back, demanding order. He asks what they are doing. The head guard arrives and shouts that it is enough. He says it is time to work. He warns that anyone making more noise will lose their daily points. Out of nowhere, the brute fighting our protagonist gets irritated. He can only grumble in frustration. Meanwhile, the other inmate looks back with pure hatred. He warns that next time it will be different. The crowd disperses. The chaos ends for now. The attacker approaches with a dirty face and says he only survived because of the guard. Amamori stays quiet. He thinks he cannot win by fighting alone. He needs a plan. Suddenly, a hand rests on his shoulder. A voice says there is a way to escape this without being the strongest. The man reveals himself and offers protection if he joins the East District. Amamori freezes and breaks into a cold sweat. He does not know what to do. The pressure is immense. The scene cuts to a heavy training session. A voice tells the guy to lift his legs higher with more force. It is no use. He falters and takes a kick that sends him to the ground. On the floor, his partner sees it and asks if he is distracted. He asks if something happened. The guy cannot even look up. He just apologizes while clearly lost in thought. Now we understand why. Somewhere, Amamori's name is being crossed off a list. Amamori appears hunched over and furious. He screams, "Why can't I have a visitor?" The guard replies coldly without even looking at him. "It is obvious, you do not have enough points." The voice continues with vague advice. "If you try hard enough, maybe you can see the person soon." This memory rushes back now as he trains, sweating. He wonders, was my visit cancelled because I am weak? The answer comes dry and brutal from his training partner. Probably. Right now you are unbearable to look at. Amamori's training partner starts giving him some straight talk. Sweating from the workout, he leans in and says, "But you have a weapon." With a serious look he adds, "An iron will that loses to no one." This idea sticks in Amamori's head as he trains, remembering, this willpower will turn you into a wolf. Meanwhile, back in the present, his partner pats him on the shoulder, ending the motivational speech. The partner starts to say, "Hard work is always rewarded." Amamori from below finishes determined, "One day for sure, soon you will find the person you want to protect." At that, the image of a smiling woman crosses his mind. This memory gives Amamori a boost, and he clenches his bandaged hand with all his might. He stands up immediately and screams to himself, "That is it, I just need to get stronger." Inside, back in a fighting stance, he faces his partner and commands, "Let us keep going." With bandaged hands and a big grin, Amamori says it like it is, "We have to aim for the best." Suddenly the scene cuts to a cell door slamming shut. The mood gets heavy inside. A bald brute is furious. He curses, "Damn that Shida and his tricks." Shortly after, the man has hate in his eyes and complains. Even the boss liked the move. What a bastard, he thinks. Meanwhile, we see a door with the sign "Cold Storage." Footsteps are heard nearby. As he walks, he also thinks, to win a fight you must first analyze the situation. Shortly after, on the other side, the captain is furious because of Ishida. He wonders if he should find someone to punch. He concludes that power is everything in the end. Fate brings them to the same corner. It was bound to happen. Tamiya turns the corridor and bumps into the brute. The guy gives a sinister smile and taunts him. "Look at that, the new room leader. Do you like it here?" Amamori casts a serious gaze, sizing up the opponent coming his way. He tries to walk past, but he ends up lightly brushing the giant's shoulder. The captain is furious at being ignored. His partner tries to calm things down, telling him not to touch Tamiya, but the guy mentions the name Ishida. The captain shows no mercy. He punches his own ally right in the face. With a clenched fist, he screams that he will prove he is more competent to everyone. Tamiya stares at the guy, determined to settle the fight right there. Without warning, he lands a heavy punch right in the boy's face. Feeling the impact, Tamiya is in disbelief. What absurd power was that? The captain also knows that if he stays on the defensive, he is finished. Amamori remembers a tip. The weak point is the chin. He aims his kick right there. Amamori plants his feet to gain momentum and lunges forward. He connects a violent uppercut right to the captain's chin. The guy dodges with a glassy stare. He thinks that he cannot give him any opening to counterattack. Meanwhile, without letting the guy breathe, he throws another direct punch at his opponent's face. He misses again. He freezes, realizing furiously that he missed the strike. The captain, with a sick smile, manages to grab our protagonist's arm with force. Without giving him time to breathe, he pulls Amamori in for a monstrous headbutt. The impact throws our protagonist back, completely dizzy from the blow. Even with his face all beaten up, he stares at the brute and taunts him. "Come on, is that all you have?" Immediately, he charges again, landing a kick with absurd speed. Amamori feels nothing, and hits back with a massive punch. He throws the captain to the floor. The man hits the ground with a bone-jarring impact. Without wasting time, he lands a precise kick behind the knee. The captain collapses completely. He falls into a sitting position while clutching his leg in agony. Seeing this, the MC puts two and two together. He wonders if the leg is the weak spot. The captain adjusts himself, clearly irritated. He starts to think he might have underestimated this guy. With pure hatred in his eyes, the captain bellows to everyone, "Kill this guy." The protagonist prepares for battle. Two henchmen rush forward. The fight kicks off without warning. One of them flies through the air to kick Takemichi. The kick was just a distraction. The MC turns in time to block the giant's punch. Behind him, Kanemoto attacks like a coward. His strength is absolutely absurd. The punch lands squarely on his back and nearly breaks him in half. Beaten up and spitting blood, he thinks he won't make it. There are too many enemies. Instead of giving up, his expression shifts. He gets an idea right there in the hallway. A light at the end of the tunnel. The freezer door is open. This is his chance. The protagonist doesn't think twice and bolts. Kanemoto and his goons follow right behind him. The brute is pissed and sends a message. "You think you can escape?" The guy is quick and slides into the room at the last second. It worked. Kanemoto gives a sinister smirk and warns him. "Want to play hide and seek? I am down for that." Kanemoto says this is a death game. If they catch you, it is over. The hunt begins. One of the henchmen sneaks into the freezer on his tiptoes to stay quiet. The thug starts taunting him. He hums a horror movie tune to mess with Takemichi. Right after that, Kanemoto himself walks into the freezing mist. He has the look of a man about to destroy everything. Suddenly, the hunter becomes the hunted. The henchman takes a massive punch to the face that makes blood fly. Our boy explodes with speed. He zooms right past Kanemoto. Without losing a second, He lands a powerful kick. Violently he slams the freezer door shut. The impact throws Kanamio forward. He spits blood and screams, furious, "You bastard, I will find you." Seeing the door close, the guy runs to stop it. He yells, "Don't you dare." It was already too late. The badass manages to slam the door with a loud bang. He locks the monster inside. The freezer temperature was set to 150 degrees below zero. From inside, only a vow of vengeance against Amamori could be heard. This story was already the talk of the town. One of the guys in the yard laughed while telling how Amamori simply closed the door and left the lunatic screaming inside. But the chatter is interrupted. Another gang arrives and tells everyone to scram. They claim the territory is theirs. Right away, the guy doesn't even flinch. He spits venom, mocking them for being the henchmen of the guy who was put on ice. The provocation hits home. One of the guys from the other group goes berserk and charges, shouting, "You bastards." The guy yells that their boss only got heated because someone named Ishida was moving behind his back. In the yard, the fight heats up. The rival group points and mocks, "You guys lost to a nobody." From afar, Tamiya sees it all. Ishida's team thinks highly of themselves. Nagai is about to retaliate. This is going to end very badly for Amamori. Night falls over the prison. The mood turns heavy, setting the stage for revenge. Said and done. Through the halls, the guys march with everything they have. They are ready to collect the debt. Nagai's gang advances down the corridor. He rushes everyone. "Let's go. We have no time to lose." Suddenly, a hand grabs his shoulder firmly, stopping him in his tracks. It was Amamori. Nagai gets annoyed and screams, "Get out of my way." But the guy just asks, as calm as ever, "What is going on?" Nagai ignores him and runs off. Seeing the direction, Amamori connects the dots and thinks, "He is heading to my room." It happens just as expected. Nagai's crew is already posted at the door. They look mean, ready for whatever comes their way. Amamori bars the group's path, grabbing Nagai's arm. He gets straight to the point. "I am the leader of this room." The close-up of his face leaves no doubts. The guy is dead serious. He is not budging from that spot. The scene shows the former leader lying on the floor. He is laughing like a maniac. Someone wonders what the hell happened. A new guy with full tattoos explains to the boy, "Since Nagal did not find you, he decided to take it out on him." The tattooed guy steps closer with a smirk. He taunts, "I still have not heard your answer from the other day." He tells everyone that Tamiya only grew because the former leader was careless. This made Nagal furious. With a sick smile, he says the man begged for help. He was labeled useless and discarded. Meanwhile, the tattooed guy keeps it real. Fear and despair change anyone. That is what happens when you lose your position. Suddenly, the guards arrive to restore order and tell everyone to clear out. They take the man from the floor. Meanwhile, the boy is paralyzed. His eyes are wide open. He cannot finish his sentence. The guy in the coat falls back screaming, "It was not on purpose. I did not see anything." The head guard gets annoyed and gives the order, "Quick, restrain him." The boy panics while trying to explain, "Stop. I can prove it to you." The guards do not want to hear it. They charge at him with everything. In the next instant, the result. The guy is already bleeding with a bizarre smile and his eye in his hand. The maniac says that since he is blind, he did not do anything wrong. The guards panic. One of them screams into the radio to call the infirmary. It is over. The guy is finished. Seeing the scene, our protagonist feels outraged. He asks if having power means you can do whatever you want. Shuzuki, who is standing nearby, confirms, "Exactly." He continues explaining that is why everyone wants to reach the top. If you fall, your life becomes trash just like that guy. Then comes the offer. Shuzuki offers to help him see his family again. He just needs to join the East District. He would not even need to be strong. The boy does not buy the easy offer and questions it. "Fine, you protect me for a few years and then what?" He thinks of his mother and Kanemoto. He keeps it real. "If I stay weak, how will I fight for real?" He clenches his fist. He stares at Kazami and warns him, "I do not want protection. I need power. Much more power." Hearing this, Shisuke Kazami smirks. He is completely satisfied with the MC's answer. He cuts straight to the chase. "Watch your back. Nagao is going to come at you with everything. That guy is dangerous when he is triggered." Kazami says his offer still stands. He turns to leave. He delivers the message, "If you change your mind, just hit me up in the East District." Cut to the next day during free time in the yard. Everyone is scattered, doing their own thing, enjoying the sun. But peace does not last. A guard arrives yelling that free time is over. He orders the South District guys to leave. In the yard, a giant bald man gets triggered by what he sees. He grumbles, "Ugh, he is here too." The target is Kaizei Barada, the boss of the South District. The bald guy is already itching to use him as a punching bag to blow off steam. But one of his cronies tries to stop him. "Stop, man, it is too risky. Remember, the head guard just warned you." The bald guy goes ballistic and snaps, "Who cares? As long as I do not touch Amamori, I can do whatever I want." With that decision, he does not think twice. He takes a firm step forward, heading straight for his target. The giant is furious and declares his intent. "Today is the day I crush you. I will teach you who runs this place." The atmosphere in the prison yard is heavy. The giant glares at everyone. Cut to Nagao and his crew as the narrator explains, "It is not just a one-on-one. The fight is brewing. Amamori is in the middle of the brawl, surrounded by 3 guys. Everyone is watching. but the protagonist is not messing around. One of the guys is already wrecked, clutching his shoulder in pain. Seeing this, the leader of the trio steps up to taunt him. You thought you were strong. You think you can handle all three of us. Stop the nonsense. The guy keeps threatening Amamori, who is all battered. Wake up, just give up or I will break your arm. Even with his face bleeding, Amamori's gaze is burning. He just asks him back. Give up? The guy slaps Amamori's shoulder, clearly looking for a fight. Amamori does not even budge. He taunts his opponent. I do not know that word. Why don't you show me how it is done? The bald guy loses his mind. He clenches his jaw and spits out a curse. You bastard. He charges forward with everything he has. He screams at the top of his lungs. I am going to kill you. Amamori is quick on his feet. He dodges the brute's attack easily. The attacker does not think twice. He launches a flying kick straight at the boy. The kick lands square on the protagonist's head. He feels the impact. Amamori is tough. He simply grabs the guy's leg in mid-air. A look of pure fury crosses his face. The attacker is in total disbelief. He cannot believe what is happening. Giving the guy no time to breathe, Amamori slams him to the ground. He prepares his next move. In the heat of the moment, Amamori freezes. He sees something. Wait. He remembers there was one more guy. The beast is already coming straight for him. What a punch. The guy lands a direct hit. Amamori spits blood instantly. The attacker does not wait. He pulls back immediately. He shows he is fast and not playing around. That hit was way too heavy. Amamori tries to focus. He feels everything fading. Damn it. My consciousness is slipping away. Even while taking a beating, Amamori's mind is racing. I need to find their weak spot. Take them down one by one. He focuses on the first attacker. This guy is strong but only attacks with the back of his hand. The analysis continues. The other one only uses kicks and is fast. The big guy is strong but gets irritated easily. With his face beaten up but a psychopathic look in his eyes, Amamori finally finds the opening. That is it. Out of nowhere he explodes toward them. The strategy now turns into pure action. The plan begins. Amamori charges headlong at the bald guy. He ignores the other two. He gets close and delivers a violent shoulder bash, a collision that should knock anyone down. The guy holds his ground. With a sick smile he asks, "So, did you like that?" Just then the brute approaches from behind. He winds up a punch to catch the protagonist by surprise. But Amamori dodges. He spins his body and strikes the bald guy's head. The man passes out instantly. His huge partner gets furious and screams, "Stop standing there like a fool." It is too late. The bald guy is dizzy. He covers his face and stumbles aimlessly. Seeing the opening, the big guy signals to attack, but Amamori is already ahead of him. Without thinking twice, the MC lunges with a brutal sweep to the guy's leg. The blow lands perfectly. The guy lets out a groan before blacking out. Without wasting time, Amamori raises his fist to finish the first guy. He slams his elbow down mercilessly. Blood sprays everywhere as it connects. The second attacker charges. Amamori stays calm and warns him, "Not yet." He grabs the guy in mid-air using the ribbon in his hands. With a brutal throw, he slams the second attacker into the ground right next to the first one. While dodging a punch, the scrappy kid Amamori acts fast. He grips the guy's wrist, preparing to send him to the shadow realm. The punch lands clean on the guy's face. It was so strong that he never saw it coming. The attacker staggers back, completely dazed. Our protagonist's hit landed perfectly. The guy admits he messed up. He is stronger than the rumors said, but his partner cuts him off. Retreating is not an option. The other attacker gets pissed, gritting his teeth in preparation. It looks like things are getting real. With one man down, the other two charge at Amamori simultaneously. He realizes they are using a coordinated attack to trap him. To avoid being thrown, Amamori plants his feet firmly. He thinks quickly. I will lower my center of gravity and retreat with their attack. He blocks both the kick and the punch, then slams an elbow into the guy's gut. This will break their formation for good. Leaving nothing to chance, Amamori turns the tide with a brutal blow to the nape. The impact is violent. The attacker coughs up blood, feeling his neck snap. The second one is already down. Amamori steps on him to show who is in charge. Seeing this, the last bald guy cannot believe it. He mumbles to himself, "This should not be happening." Rage takes over. He screams, "I will not lose to trash like you." He charges forward. The MC blocks the punch with full force. The guy has incredible power, but something is off. The fighter warns him, "If you put everything into that, your center of gravity will collapse." The guy plants his feet and thinks. He charges at full speed toward his opponent. The fighter throws a massive punch. Our MC is too slick and dodges at the last second. He thinks fast. Since the guy is off balance, this is the perfect chance. Without thinking twice, he lands a strike on the weak spot to destabilize the lunatic. The strategy is clear. Now he goes all out with a flurry of attacks. Giving no opening, he lands a violent punch. The opponent spits blood. The MC delivers the final blow. He yells that he will only stop when the other guy is finished. The impact is so sharp that birds fly away in fear. We see the opponent's bloodied hand hitting the floor. Things went south for him. With the enemy down, the winner's silhouette stands out before the crowd. Total victory. Seeing the scene, a group of guys freezes. They cannot believe what just happened. With his back turned, Amamori looks shredded. Everyone is in shock. Is that really Amamori? In 2 weeks the MC faced all the leaders of the North District. He swings his arm down hard, blood splatters, he wins completely. He stands there glaring at everyone while the other guy is defeated on the ground. The crowd cheers, raising their fists. Leader Amamamri, you are the best. This is the strongest in the North District, our class leader, someone announces. While the crowd watches, the guy hands him fresh clothes and asks if he wants a drink. The MC asks about Kanemoto. The other responds with an enigmatic smile. You know why, right? The long-haired guy mocks Nagal. He messed up and got bitten by a loser he despised. He must be too embarrassed to show his face. The guy laughs and notes that Amamori is growing fast. It is messing with someone's head. He relaxes in his chair. He wonders if Amamori beating Nagal will make him a top target. The gang is gathered in the room. The atmosphere is tense. Everyone is on edge. The long-haired guy speaks bluntly. You cannot read the room, can you? It is raining today of all days. Someone notes there is no sign of rain. The other guy responds calmly. It just happens. He makes his move. Fine, let's do this. With a firm gaze, his mind is made up. Rain pours heavily over the building. The mood is dark and heavy. A guard walks down the stairs with a flashlight. He explores the sewage treatment plant. The guy asks about the stock. The answer is 12% higher than planned. A guy in a cap tells Kanemoto that the nutjob is a genius for causing all this chaos. The long-haired guy starts to say his usual line. Suddenly he freezes and yells, wait. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a crew is moving heavy boxes. They have a well-organized operation. As they drop a box, a hidden note slips out. We see the team led by a long-haired man covered in tattoos. He is clearly the boss. One guy picks up the note and tells him not to drop his guard. Since they cannot hear us, we change the method. Handing him the paper, he explains the plan. Take the accident here. We will ship it out later. Kanemoto looks at the paper suspiciously and questions him. Wait, was this not someone else's job? What is going on here? The guard leans in menacingly and drops the blackmail. The bosses do not know the old leader died. The director covered it up. Are you going to betray us? Seeing the tension spike, he immediately shifts his tone and promises. If you do your job right, you will be well rewarded. To seal the deal, he offers the full package. Any screw-up by Nagal is not your fault. And out there, Kuroi Amakai will look after you. After hearing it all, Kanemoto responds with a single, heavy stomp on the ground, showing that his decision is made. Look who is back. Nagao the brute steps out of solitary ready to lose it. He barely leaves the cell when a guy approaches him. The guy offers help with a smirk. Nagao cuts straight to the chase. He wants the heads of Egi, Estacada, and Tiro Okachimba. The guy looks awkward and asks him to take it easy. Suddenly the air grows heavy as another gang appears in the hallway. Leading them is none other than Kanemoto. He glares at the brute and confirms. So you are out? Kanemoto and his gang confront Nagao. He tells Nagao to watch his step. Nagao scowls and asks point blank. Are you going to leave Amamori alone? Kanemoto smirks and agrees the guy is getting arrogant. He issues a warning. I will give you a chance. He stares at the brute and says there is one thing only Nagao can do. Elsewhere, Amamori lets out a sneeze. Someone is definitely talking about him. Amamori sneezes and Dr. Kanda speaks up. Hey, don't get sick now. He just smiles and brushes it off. Relax. It is probably just Nagao talking trash about me. Dr. Kanda analyzes the situation. Knowing Kanemoto, a fight is inevitable. She puts a thermometer in Amamori's mouth and asks, so, do you have a plan? She reveals the problem is not just Kanemoto. There is this guy Ejisada who is clever and plotting something big. The long-haired guy knows this is a chess game. We need to make the first move. Meanwhile, Dr. Kanda tends to Tamiya and recalls something. Something has been bothering me. She explains that the former leader of Amamori's room killed himself. The bosses covered it up immediately. Tamiya catches on right away and asks, do you think they were protecting Kanemoto? She confirms it. Exactly, but Nagao will likely be discarded. Dr. Kanda hits him with the truth. Nagao has already killed 2 people. She doubts Kanemoto will protect a maniac who has become a liability. Amamori does not care. He warns Kanemoto that protecting that guy means they both go down. Nagao will have to pay. The long-haired guy smiles beneath his bangs. He says that is the right spirit. Dr. Kanda kills the mood immediately. She crosses her arms and sighs. She says it is great he is motivated. She stares at him seriously and gives him a straight talk. Do not push your body too hard. He needs to be at 100% to face them. Amamori stares into the distance and says it like it is. Realizing things got serious, the long-haired guy takes off his shirt. He warns that any mistake here is fatal. He tosses his uniform aside. There is no time to lose. Amamori agrees. He will train to the limit. Now shirtless and looking sinister, the guy cracks his knuckles. He challenges him to show what he is made of. Amamori does not think twice. He gets into his stance with a huge grin. He says that is exactly what I am talking about. Someone runs through the prison halls with heavy steps. Reaching the cell, the scene is already set. One of the guys realizes things went south. Meanwhile, a prisoner is in shock holding a letter. He can barely speak. Inside, the group leader takes the letter. He smiles and asks what it is. Is it a challenge? His smile turns into a psycho expression. He is thrilled by the idea of a fight. With a mocking smirk, the new boss shows the letter. He tells Nagao that people think they are idiots. Nagao grabs the paper and gets furious. He snarls that the bastard had the nerve to come after him. Everyone is in the canteen with their trays. The air feels heavy. Amamori issued a challenge. The news is spreading fast. Someone asks who is winning. Is it not obvious? The captain is a monster. Another guy says Amamori is stronger but not on that level yet. The crowd gets rowdy and starts betting. No chance. The result is already decided. Nagao versus Amamori. That is it. Someone gets hit in the head. He scoffs that only an idiot would bet on Amamori. Damn it. What are you doing? The long-haired guy tells you to shut your mouth. You messed with our leader. Nobody thinks Amamori will win. Still, you wanted to fight me. The guy yells in desperation that the enemy is right there. Meanwhile, one of Nagao's thugs smirks in the corner. He is confident in his boss's victory. It is no surprise. The gang leader throws a bag on the table. He screams that he is betting everything on the fourth leader. The bet is made. The screen fades to black. The tension rises. Cut to nighttime. During free time, a commotion breaks out in the prison hallways. Everyone is running to catch the show. People are pulling each other and yelling, "Hurry up! We are going to miss it." Meanwhile, in another corner, the captain sneaks into a dark room. Kanemoto is already waiting inside. He asks if he is ready. Masaki confirms and warns that Nagal is already there with a smug grin. He reveals the plan. Nagal's vision worsens in the dark. He loses his head easily. Kanemoto questions the real goal. "Do you think we can make them destroy each other?" Masaki confirms without blinking. He adds that Amamori's ability is nothing special. With a sinister smile, Kanemoto guarantees their plan is more than enough to finish Nagal. The scene cuts. We see everyone running into a hall. The fight is about to start. The crowd is shoving each other. It is chaos. A guy complains, "Don't push me." Another shouts, "Why didn't you arrive earlier?" In the middle of the mess, a guy organizes the bets. He screams asking for more bets. The odds are 1 to 25. A rookie guard finds the situation strange. The veteran interrupts him. "Listen closely, rookie. They will let it happen." The bald man stares seriously. He reveals he is there to avenge Masakikam. But our protagonist with the scars on his face breaks the mood. He starts to speak. He points at the guy's face and drops the bomb. "I will show everyone how pathetic you are." It happened as expected. The guy was furious. With pure hatred in his eyes he cursed, "You bastard." Blind with rage he lunges forward with everything he has. He screams if the protagonist is ready to die. The fight begins. The giant lunges with a spinning haymaker. Amamori ducks under it. Seeing an opening, he lands a straight punch to the giant's chest. The giant feels the blow, yet the guy does not budge and just mocks him. Pathetic. A hit like that does not even tickle. Amamori freezes. He realizes the monster's body is too tough to break. Without hesitation he throws another punch. This time he aims straight for the guy's jaw. The giant catches his hand. Moving at light speed, the bare paw hand grabs Amamori's arm instantly. The monster spins and slams Amamori into the ground like a rag doll. Down and spitting blood, Amamori thinks, "Damn, he is much stronger than I expected." There is no time to breathe. The giant is already on top of him, readying another strike. The punch comes with full force. It hits square and sends our protagonist's blood flying everywhere. The impact is brutal. Amamori takes such a hard hit that blood splatters all around. The scene is so intense that the other prisoners freeze. One of them cannot believe his eyes and mutters, "This is insane." It is not just one guy watching. A whole gang of thugs is eyeing the fight. Someone asks why people from other districts are there. The answer comes quickly. If Amamori wins, all the power shifts. Meanwhile, Amamori lies on the ground, broken and bloody. He can only manage to say, "I cannot see a damn thing." In the shadows, the guy stretches his shoulder, ready for what comes next. Suddenly, his eyes glow in the darkness with absurd energy.